can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
It is FT Live on a Thursday. Adam Jones, Scott Braun, and Dave Pierzynski. Chris Bassitt from the Toronto Blue Jays joining us in a little bit. And Dan Hayes from The Athletic writes on the Minnesota Twins. You don't usually dance like this.
Because I was laughing at you doing push-ups earlier, so got me hyped.
Sorry, I slept like 3 hours last night.
Well,
so
dude, go to
I wanted
bed,
to wake
bro.
up. I can't. I'm
Why?
busy working.
You weren't
Sorry,
working. You
I'm
were
busy
tweeting
hustling.
about baseball last night. I got my whacker.
Yeah,
right here.
because I'm going to confiscate that soon. But sorry.
Adam doesn't know about the whacker, the Scott whacker right here.
Oh, I need that.
Yeah, it's actually, I'll send you one from our friends at Tires Baseball. It's a pine tar applicator. I don't know if you ever used one. AJ apparently didn't use pine tar, right?
I only use the stick.
The stick.
I use tar.
You
I
use
use
tar?
both. Everything.
So then you know what this is, and I'm ticking about.
He doesn't know what that is.
Did you
never
use a pine
did
tar
it. Never
applicator?
used it. That's not what it is.
No, we would just like dip the can into the rag and smush it, rub it around, and grab the bat. These motions aren't good for TV.
No, they look great on you though. They look elite. They look elite.
Did you do that again? Did he do that again?
No. You dip it and then rub it and then lube it.
Yeah, you look like, who is it? The Cardinals that do the pepper grinder? Is it the Cardinals? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, they
So
need
they
something
say.
new.
That's a big ass pepper grinder.
Cardinals need to switch it up anyway.
Yeah,
They
well,
lost
that's a whole different
again. They lost 5 in
big
a
time.
row. But
Yeah.
but on the topic of you dancing, there's a lot of dancing going on with the Padres now, and I think some of that comes from the party in Mexico, which of course Adam attended. So let's
of course.
run his thing. Yes, we're keeping up with the Joneses. Where was Adam this past week?
Well, I was in Mexico City working on behalf of MLB, and Padres and Giants. It was a fantastic event. I got to meet Rey Mysterio, a childhood hero of mine, as in the wrestling lucha libre circuit. I got to take out the president of the Hall of Fame, Josh Weyrich. I got to take him out to dinner, just a random taco spot, and then I got to take him out to the lucha libre. This right here is dinner Friday night with Ryan Howard and Dan Otero. And we just, I went in right there, and that's that good Kobe beef. It came with a certificate and all that kind of stuff. But no, it was great. It was great for baseball. It was great timing because of WBC. The Mexico fans just were still. I think basking in the glow of it. Team Mexico obviously had such a great showing in the WBC, and it was great timing. Padres. I think maybe this could have been Juan Soto's stride because he's been playing really well the last 6-7 games. Obviously, Fernando Tatis is back for them, and that's a jolt. They've been, I think this is what I think the last week is what we expect of the Padres. So hopefully going forward, that is what we see. And AJ, I want to ask you: have you been to Mexico City? Because you traveled a lot, but have you been to Mexico City?
I have not, but I need to go. But I have a bigger question for you. As a former WWE, yes, it's real.
Okay.
Okay. Did you ask Rey Mysterio? I don't know if you watch wrestling anymore, but I still do, and my family makes fun of me. Did you ask Rey Mysterio? I know it's a work, but why in the hell are you letting your kid beat you up like that? Like, you damn
he beat his ass at WrestleMania. I watched the match. He beat his ass at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but dude, I never let my kids slap me around like that. At some point, you got to be like, have some dad pride and be like, listen, man, come on, Dominic.
That's why he had to beat his butt on national television, man. On the national stage, you have to look at everybody. Okay, I'm gonna take it. The national stage, I'm gonna smack you around.
But
man, that dude is like this big.
Oh, he's tiny. But he's a good dude. Man.
Legit double his size.
It's not good to do this on TV either.
You had serious height on him. I mean,
yeah, I'm a taller guy, but
yeah,
it was special, man. Just you appreciate what he's done for the wrestling. Obviously, AJ, I grew up a big fan. AJ, it sounds like you grew up a big fan also. And that's just, you respect what other people are able to accomplish.
Absolutely, especially at his size to win the heavyweight, the WWE World Championship and all that. 5'8", no, 5'5",
Yeah.
maybe.
No.
He makes Altuve look like a monster.
No. Altuve is the Green Mile guy in comparison. The big fella. I'm 5.
Okay. 5?
Yeah.
Flat? 5 feet?
No, he's like 5'3",
1.
isn't he? 5'3".
Hey man, maybe with those boots on, but hey, I know a foot when I see it.
Yeah. Muggsy Bogues was 5'3", remember? Yeah. I always remembered that height. I have 2 questions for you on Mexico, and then we'll hit the top stuff from the day. 1, did you drink the water?
I did not drink the water. I heard that Logan Webb said the Giants got the bibbers, and hopefully they feel better.
So do the Padres. Both teams got it. The Padres got it too, so don't just think it was the Giants.
Okay, well, I didn't use any ice or anything like that. I know I've been to Mexico many, many times. I know how it works. I drink bottled water there. I make sure it's cold. So, yeah, I feel bad for them.
Brush your teeth with it too.
Brush your teeth. Yeah, you got to brush your teeth with bottled water too.
Yeah. So don't eat any fruit. Don't eat any ice. Yeah, it's crazy.
If you've been to Mexico, you understand. Unless you're staying at the higher end resorts, they filter it a little bit better. But
last time
I've never had it, honestly.
Oh, I've gotten it. I've gotten it there. I've gotten Bangkok belly. You ever had Bangkok belly? That's worse than Montezuma's revenge.
Oh man,
oof. Bad.
I was in Thailand. I had to call in the prescription back in the States. Hey, what do I got to buy? Because I cannot get off. One time I got it in Madrid. I don't know what they call it in Madrid. Spain shits. I don't know what they call it, but I got it one time in Madrid. Honestly, this is so bad. We're talking
too much tapas.
But listen, my hotel room was so, and we were in a nice hotel, but my hotel room, the bathroom in Madrid, I think it was either the Ritz or the Four Seasons. I was on getting it out of me, and the bathroom was so small. I had my head on the tile wall, like this, as I was sitting on the proper place. But it was.
Can't wait for lunch.
That's why we do this show after lunch.
Yes, true. Well, for some, I have late lunch. But last time I was in Mexico, I got West Nile virus. So true story from mosquitoes. That was a blast that kept passing out. Anyway, that was fun. My other question on Mexico was, did you get to take any swings? Because I heard basically if you bunt, it goes over the wall.
I didn't, but it was a fest the first day. The wind was blowing out a little bit more, but it's still high elevation, 7,400 feet with a normal sized baseball field. So, like, even if Colorado was there, there still would have been home runs. But that place is a joke. I know that the Diablos that play there are extremely happy because that's their home ballpark, and the role players get to tee off there too. And a lot of guys got some big games. You've seen Cruz have a big game, Manny have a big game, Tatis have a big game. So you got guys those are places, AJ, when you go to a place, you got to feast off of that right there. You got to feast off and take advantage of those 3-4 RBI games, 5-6 RBI series, maybe sneak in 5 or 6 hits in a few days because getting hits is tough. So the Padres and Giants, respectively, were very smart that very first day of getting it in and getting the offense. Second day, the guys were, Logan, it was Cobb versus Darvish. They were a lot better. So it was a 6-4 game. It was a late inning comeback. So it was a lot better pitch game. But I just think the first night, the atmosphere needed to be there with the home runs. The first game in Mexico, it didn't need to be a pitching duel. It needed to be a fest. The second day, it was is what was perfect also, a pitching duel, a really good close game with an exciting ending. So it was a great 2 games, man. It was a fantastic 2 games.
Oh, that's awesome. And we'll keep it on the West Coast. Let's charge the damn mound, and we'll start with the Dodgers and Phillies. There was a lot from that game, okay? So, first of all, the Phillies are 0-2 with Bryce, and Max Muncy's a beast. We'll talk about his grand slam, and he's got 12 homers already this year. But Bryce is back. This is game number 2, and Alden Gonzalez tweeted that Rob Thompson was worried in the 9th inning because Harper didn't have time to put on his elbow guard while on base. Castellanos even burned a timeout to try to help. Harper said they brought it up to the league, but an exception won't be made. Pace of play issue is the problem.
Stupid. It's stupid. We can't give him 5 extra seconds to put his arm. He just came back from Tommy John in under 6 months. Hey, talk to your boy Dan Otero. Talk to Ryan Howard.
Yeah,
You
that's
work for
true.
Hey, you work for the league. Tell him that some of this
That is
stuff is
true.
stupid. You can't give him 5 extra seconds to put a brace on.
He's the face of the sport. He's got to
come
stay
on.
healthy.
That's
If that was
dumb.
you, you'd be flipping out because I know Adam liked to take his time going up to the box anyway.
Of course, but does
Hell yeah.
does the first base coach have this or the batting boy have this? You know,
Oh,
like, so if
the
Oh,
guard.
I think the bat boy has to run it because it's a big contraption. It's not like it's like a little thing. It's like
What
one
is
of those
this? Was it
oven
like
mitts. Hey, it's not one of those oven mitts your damn base stealer stole that had like 12 extra inches. When you slid, you're like, safe by 12 inches. That isn't his hand.
What does it look like? I've never seen the actual.
We've got to get a picture.
We got to
of
try
it.
to find a
Yeah.
picture of it. But
Yeah.
it's just something he puts on to keep it stable, right?
To keep stable. I mean, if
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
base coach
It's
can have
big.
it while he's on, if the first base coach can have it, you know, because the bat boy, it's really far to get out there. It's a lot easier. I mean, the hitting coach follows the hitters anyway. Bryce just hit the ball over the fence anyway. But yeah, that's definitely something that's going to be brought up. And when it's brought up again, when they say that it won't be tolerated, that means that they're going to dig into it and see, and they're going to see how many times this happens. It's all about data. It's not about, oh, you complain to me right now. No, I'm going to see how many times this actually affects it, and then see if we're going to implement something. But it's not going to be just a Bryce rule, because that was the old thing for the pitchers. Oh, the pitchers need a coat. The pitchers need a coat. You know what I mean? Go take time, everybody go put on this coat and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I don't know if that's going to be a Bryce rule, because he's the only one that is going to be governed this privilege. But yeah,
Well,
it's going to be fun to see.
Let's show the second tweet from Alden Gonzalez to give more context here. On hits, the 30-second clock begins when the ball is brought back into the infield. An exception is made if a hitter records a double and is shedding equipment, i.e. shin or elbow guards. In those instances, it starts once the equipment is handed off to whoever comes to pick it up. I mean, my thing is, within reason, we should make sure that a player is protected safety-wise.
It's not taking 3 minutes to do it. It's taking them 35 seconds instead of 30 seconds.
Right. So
Okay.
I think we need to make an exception there. And even if, first of all, it's Bryce. And second of all, even if it wasn't, I still would want a player to be protected.
But he's also the only guy that has this device. So
Right.
It's new. It's been 2 days. First day he didn't get on base, so no one got to try it out.
Yeah.
And yesterday he got on base, so they were like, wait a minute, what's going on? We need this elbow thing. Oh, and the bad boy doesn't run a 4.240 to get down there to first. So let's give him an extra second here.
Hey, there's some slow bat boys out there, man.
Yeah, but come on.
Well, they need to get cut. Aren't they getting cut?
Yeah, they're doing a combine for bad boys now.
Yeah.
They're gonna you know what? They're gonna air it on MLB Network because there's some stuff on there.
Oh, they should be. Yep, right with the combine in June. Just have it on the side of it. Look, we need some bad boys that can read this and understand how quick things are happening. But yeah, I understand that. I understand it. It's a safety issue. Definitely somebody that you want to protect. But again, it's anybody who's going through this and comes back in 5 months, 9 days. That's what it came. What? That's 1 year, like, for everybody. So, like, I get it, and it will be brought up, and I will check my emails and see if I'm allowed in those meetings. Some meetings I ain't allowed in. You know what I mean?
Well, you
Terrell's
should be allowed in.
meetings.
They need
Dan's
you.
allowed in those meetings. Me, they're like, yeah, you got a pretty face. Go talk
Yeah.
to the sponsor.
New guy, you got like 50% meeting invites, but
Exactly.
yeah, you got to tell them, or we'll just clip this off and you can send it. I mean, you know what happens though. The one thing that I want to make sure we don't do and we do less of as a sport is be reactive. Do not be reactive about everything. Don't wait until there's a problem. Imagine if Bryce is like, oh, I didn't get it on in time to elbow guard, and then he has a problem and he goes down. All hell will break loose. Remember he slipped on the bag? And then the topic of slippery bags comes up, and I'm like, it's always like that.
It's always when a star gets hurt.
Yeah,
Buster
but my thing is we already know it.
Buster Posey gets hurt. They're like, oh, no more running over the catcher. We might get somebody hurt. Or remember in the playoffs?
AJ, you've been ran over a few times.
Yeah, I got up from every one. Let's go.
Yadier been ran over a few times.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. It was part of the game, and as a catcher, when you sign up for it, you know what you was about to get. And when dudes were coming in, okay, I'm going to get it, but I'm going to live to fight another day, and I'm going to try and be safe. You get caught sometimes, and that's when guys get hurt. It was unfortunate for Buster. Listen, great guy, but it was like the Chase Utley play at second base where they banned you from sliding into a guy. I mean, Chase Utley was doing nothing Go back. We've talked about this before. Go back to the 70s when Hal McRae was going in and not even sliding. He was full cross-body Rey Mysterio blocking dudes at second base. Him and Willie Randolph famously got in that big fight, remember, in the 80s or the 70s or 80s where they just started throwing fists because Willie Randolph was like, dude, you can't cross-body tackle me like that. But they didn't care. That was the way it was done. And
Different sport.
you figured out how to get it done, though. You figure out how to survive it.
Different sport.
So
though.
here's my biggest thing when you talk about safety, though. AJ, you was a two-hand finisher.
Yes.
So and Bryce
Tried to be most of the time.
But
Yeah.
sometimes you get fooled and you finish with one hand. Just like that's just what how swings happen. Every once in a while. I remember when Wieters had his Tommy John surgery and he came back quick in spring training and okay, he was feeling good. And it was one time he got a good changeup and that top hand came off the bat and he was hitting lefty and he just tweaked that elbow. And I remember seeing it and I felt his pain. And like, what can you protect against that? Like,
can't.
Like, are you gonna? It's like with the Padres, they told Tatis, "Look, you have to swing two hands, no matter what. You can't guarantee that I'm gonna swing two hands. I can consciously tell myself I'm gonna swing two hands. There's gonna be a time where there's a ball up and in, and I swing, and it's just part of how the swings happen.
Heck,
So
I told myself all the time. I told myself all the time to finish with two hands because it was a better swing. Because if you finish with two hands, you don't get out in front, right? So you're like, oh, let's finish always with two hands. Well, guess what? Like you said, you get fooled. Woo! Because you want to finish and try to foul the pitch off.
What's prettier?
Two-hand finish. For me, you get a good two-hand finish and you're like, posing. It's like golf and you twirl your club a little bit. Right? I mean, now if you're Griffey and you get the one hand.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean,
For me, it's one
that's
hand.
Ken Griffey Jr.
One hand is sick on a finish
Only
in
on a
terms
lefty,
of
though.
aesthetics.
Righty, it doesn't look right.
Fair. We can do side by sides at some point and do comps.
Have you seen the thing where they do the picture and can you tell if it's a right-handed or left-handed hitter? Have you ever seen those things?
Yeah.
And it's just a shadow, and you're like, who's the hitter? Is he right-handed or left-handed? You can't tell. And you're looking at it, you're like, gosh, I think that's like Bryce Harper, but it could be Mookie Betts, but it could be Freddie Freeman, but it could be Paul
They flip
Goldschmidt.
it, you're saying, and show him?
No, but it's just a shadow, and they're
Yeah.
like at a certain point, they're like this, and you're like, is he hitting right-handed or left-handed? And you think it'd be easy to tell, but you can't tell. I don't know.
I need to see
maybe
it.
Claudia can find.
We need
one.
visuals.
Yeah.
This show, I mean, it is half pod, but it's also on YouTube, so we can see things. I'd also like to show you that the Dodgers walked off the Phillies with a grand slam. Max Muncy has 12 homers. You know what's funny?
Oh.
So Muncy's a regular, and there he is coming into party at home plate. He's a regular on the show. He appears, every few weeks. I remember so he was on in spring training, first week of the season, or maybe it was the second week. He was cold for like the first week and a half. And I'm seeing the comments when he's coming on, and people are like, can you tell him to get a hit? Is he done? I'm like,
He ain't done no.
gosh, he's one of the best hitters in the bigs right now. And he's got the pop that's back that was missing a little bit last year because he had the injury, right? Coming off the elbow, right?
Mhm.
Am I right on that?
Elbow, yeah. Remember, he broke his elbow on the play at first. Must have
And then
his elbow
last
on
year,
play at first.
he wasn't right, and Doc Roberts said that. I remember there was a good Doc Roberts quote towards the start of the season where he was saying, he said in spring training, critical for him to have a bounce-back season. And they spoke about how last year he was dealing with the elbow holding him back. So I think it's good now.
Max. You're welcome. Foul territory love. FT love.
Yeah.
Not FT live. FT love. You're
FT love.
welcome.
He was
We're
great,
back
though.
now.
Yeah. And so the Phillies lose again. Phillies have work to do.
Dodgers 6-0 on their homestand. Swept both series.
We haven't talked enough about the Dodgers. They get a lot of love for years, but I feel like they're flying under the radar. Do you?
Yes, because the Padres have all the hype because of the people they signed, right? The Pirates, everyone was kind of talking about because they kind of went out of nowhere to the best record in the National League. And more people were talking about the Cardinals being crappy.
And the Rays
And they're
being good.
But they're in the different leagues. So
And
people look different leagues. The
True.
Angels get a lot of hype because Shohei and Trout. But because the Dodgers win every year and they're in the playoffs, people are just like, oh, they'll be fine. They'll be in the playoffs, and here they come.
I actually feel, Adam, like some people were slighting them more this year, being like, yeah, they're going to be down this year. They didn't do big things in the offseason. And I'm like, I think people forget, and I'm all about spending. The Dodgers have spent for years. They still have a core of superstars, even position players, of course, like Muncy, Mookie, Freeman, etc. And their farm system is consistently top 10, if not top 5. Every year they develop prospects. We're seeing it with Outman this year.
100%. Like, you replace Bellinger. You don't even remember Bellinger. And I'm so happy for Bellinger right now also that he's playing so well. Got up to a good start. But the Dodgers have such a pipeline of players. So it's like, all right, we can let this guy go. We bring in Peralta. We let go Pollock. Traded that contract out last year. They have so much, so many weapons. I mean, that's what, when you have an enrichment of money and your GM's mindset is the farm system. You could do both. That's why it's a damn dynasty. They're like the Braves though, the '90s. One championship with all these damn division ones. It's kind of.
Well, not to interrupt you, but Verlander just gave a back-to-back homer, so to Baez and Riley Green in the start in Detroit.
Well, let's jump to that, okay? We have a lot to do in Charge the Mound, and it'll probably spill over past our Dan Hayes interview. But
yes, Adam, you're right though about the Dodgers and their dynasty. They're like the Braves, and the one they won was in 2020, which
it's like a tournament.
Yeah, it's like the COVID locked NBA championship was the bubble. It's like 60
It'll always
games,
be that. It'll always be that.
I mean, they won it, great, and the players will treat it. The ring means just as much as my ring does, but there's always going to be some people that are going to say, I don't know.
Right, 100%.
So on the Mets, Scherzer
I'm a
came back,
fan, and they say something about that too. So
what? The Lakers? No, the Lakers are.
No, they always complain. They won in the bubble. So everybody's like, they won in the bubble. And I'm like, well, if your sorry ass team won, you would have complained. You would have loved that. But no, sorry, your team didn't win. If the Magic won, everybody in Orlando would have been juiced. The Magic.
The who?
You don't
exactly.
The who? The Magic?
Yeah.
I mean,
I've never been to a Magic game.
Well, listen, the Magic are. They listen. When I was growing up, they were great. Everyone loved them. We had Shaq and Penny and all that stuff. But recently, it's been. But we don't talk
ever
about
since
that.
Dwight left.
True.
Bonchero's a beast.
Yeah, but you have to understand they don't win ever. They never. So people are just like, oh, I'll go to the Magic. I can just buy tickets that day if I want to go to a game. It's not like Lakers where you got to buy tickets years in advance.
Yeah, there's half the teams in MLB are like that, where the teams where the owners don't care. But wait, I want to go to the Mets because it's very timely. Yes, Verlander giving up back-to-back dingers, and Max Scherzer was not good yesterday. And he said after the game, long layoff, which is true. He was lifted in the 4th inning. He was missing over the plate. 3 1/3, 6 runs, 8 hits, 2 homers, a walk, 3 Ks, 75 pitches. And the Mets were swept by the worst offensive team in baseball. Mets have lost 8 of 10 entering today. Now they're playing. And that was an 8-1 game in game 2. And it snapped this epic streak of 25 consecutive doubleheaders without being swept. I know it doesn't go back that far, and you were talking about this when we spoke earlier that the last time they lost a doubleheader sweep was 2020 or 2019?
Yeah,
Wait, I'm going to counter that. 25 doubleheaders and you don't get swept? That's a lot.
It's really not that surprising to me.
That's a ton, though. Not one out of those 25? Big deal or no big deal to you? 25 in a row.
To who they lost to is always the big deal.
But Adam, how many times did you play a doubleheader? I can't even remember. I mean, I'm sure it happened, but I don't ever remember losing both. It's always 1-1 because you win a game or you lose a game. And
it's not always 1-1.
It just seems like it is.
Then why even play the games? It's just 1-1. Why even play them?
That's why people get mad when they have to play doubleheaders because they're like, we're playing the Tigers. We got a chance if we play them on a day-to-day, we can win 2 games. But because we're playing a doubleheader, it's usually I don't know what the stats. Someone's got to be able to find the stats. But I guarantee you it's about at least 70% that doubleheaders are split.
You seen the teams when I first came to Baltimore. We lost both of those a lot. And then we switched. But, I think splits you generally get a split most of the time. It was great to get 2 wins, but generally I've gotten splits. But 25 without getting swept, man, it's pretty damn good.
I think that's impressive. So they're 16-15. They're fine. They're hovering around 500.
Yeah, but the problem is the Braves are 21-10.
Well, then they're not going to win the division, which is what I said. They're not going to win the division. I said it's the Braves, but there's wild cards. Phillies are in a similar spot. They're hovering around the 500 mark. I think they're a couple games under now, but still in that range to make a run. So for the Mets, you have older starting pitchers. Verlander's first start. I think they're going to be fine.
Okay.
Just like Kratz said about the Yankees, I think they're going to be fine. Now the Twins, on the other hand, let's talk about Minnesota falling now. How many? 2 or 3 in a row to the White Sox?
2.
That was 2. It's been 2 now. The third one goes down today. Dan Hayes from The Athletic joining us right now on FT Live to talk about this Minnesota team. And Dan, AJ is very happy sitting right next to me because we have covered the White Sox, I think, as much as any team so far this season, and not because of AJ's allegiance to the ball club, because they're a beautiful disaster. So how are you, and how is the ball club doing falling to this mess of a ball club right now?
They're. I'm good. Thank you for having me, by the way. No, they're in a pretty good place. I think the fact that they played so well this year against the Astros, against the Yankees, they'd had a good spell leading into this series, and they just started to hit. I think all of that stuff has made them kind of been able to shake off 2 games. I don't think there's any loss of confidence. They haven't been the best games for them. You look at last night, and they gave that game away. They had they had a base running mistake with the middle of their order coming up. They had the bases loaded for the middle of their order and came up empty when the game was tied late. They had 2 walks turn into runs instantly, and the White Sox capitalized, doing basically the stuff that the Twins weren't able to do all day. And I think when they look at that, that's been rare for this team versus consistent. They've been consistently good for most of the way. And I think they're able to kind of overlook that. But, it's hard not to look at a game like last night and say, man, they could have come back down 3-0 against Dylan Cease and had a comeback win. That would have been a great story, and kind of continued the way they've been playing. Instead, they're saddled with a tough loss and have to rebound today and rely on Pablo Lopez to help them avoid a sweep to a team that was, for all intents and purposes, miserable until about 4 days ago.
Well, Dan, welcome back to the cell. Yes, I still call it the cell.
Yes.
You were a White Sox beat reporter for a while, so there's got to be a little allegiance there. You still a little kind of root for the White Sox, but I know you work for the Twins. How does that work?
You know what? It's so easy because this is year 17, which is shocking to me to think that you root for some of the people that you work for because you enjoy working with them over the years. But it's crazy how few of the guys that I covered are still here. I think, I saw Yohan Moncada's debut, and I saw Kopech when he came over, and Giolito when he came over in the trade. But Jose Abreu was sort of one of those last guys. Tim Anderson, obviously, was there for his debut. But there's very few guys that are still around in 6 years here. But you do having a little bit of allegiance to players and guys you like working with. And it's a fun kind of balance. But, this is it's strange to see what they've gone through as hard as they've gone through. Because I covered some really bad years. And in fact, if you look, started covering the White Sox in June of 2012. And from that point on, it was a rough spell for the team. I never really covered it.
It was you.
It was me. It was totally me.
It was you, because I was on that team in 2012. We were pretty good, and guess what? You came around and you went.
You guys were 24-22 the day I showed up, and then it was a great team. And Chris Sale and Jose Quintana ran out of gas in September. You guys were propped up by really good young pitching that just hit the wall physically. And I think you got hurt. Dunner got hurt.
I got hurt? No. Whoa.
Didn't you?
I think words. I don't get hurt.
I thought you had a finger injury.
No.
Maybe it was Flowers broke his finger towards the end of the year. You had an oblique.
I mean,
you and Adam Dunn had oblique issues that you.
Yeah, how many days I missed that?
Well,
2 days.
No, you played through it.
I missed 2 days.
Canerco had a bad back. I think Canerco was hitting 400 when I arrived that summer, and I think he hit like 240 the rest of the way. It was me. It was totally me.
Honestly, no. The story was it was Memorial Day. We go to Tampa Bay. Vinny Fresso was our clubhouse guy at the time. He didn't pack Canerco's bats. We get to Tampa. Paul goes to take BP or go to the cage, and he's like, I got no bats. Where are my bats? And so it was one of the famous lines with Vinny, he would always walk around and go, pack your bats. Hey, everyone, pack your bats. So we're in Tampa, and we're like, hey, Paulie, where are your bats? And Vinny had to have somebody fly him down.
Wow.
Bats, and then he got cold as hell the rest of the year. So thanks, Vinny and Dan.
Hey, and you want to know something crazy? That was the day I interviewed in person for the job. So
See, it is your fault. It is your
it
fault.
is. It's all me.
Dan,
I'm
how you
learning.
doing? Adam Jones here, brother.
Hey, Adam. It's good to see you.
How you doing? Pleasure. Just wrote an article about Buxton, and one of the most exciting players in the game, but also one of the most hurt players in the game.
Yeah.
Can you please explain to me why, if you can?
Yeah, it's hard because he talked about it the other day. We had a great conversation about this, and early in his career, he admits he played a little reckless, a little fearless. He did not. He was not scared of walls. He was not afraid to dive, and I think those injuries, a few of them happened early on, and then some of the freak injuries happen where you get hit in the finger and it's a hamate bone, and there's 7 weeks, or he got hit in the head 2 days before the start of the 2020 playoffs and gets a concussion. Stuff out of your control. And I think kind of the combo of the two, and then some of the stuff that you get as you start to get a little older. I know the leg stuff came up last year, and actually in 2021. I think when you get to that point, and he loves to play, he wants to play every day, and he would spend 3 hours in the training room last year to try and prepare the knee and get out there. When all that stuff adds up, I think he has gotten a little perspective, and you've seen a lot of times, you'll see pictures of him and Carlos Correa on the rail having discussions. I think Carlos Correa has gotten in his ear and talked to him about, you got to take care of everything you can to be out there. And he was doing a lot of that stuff. But I think you get that perspective. And he talked about that and wanting to be in the lineup. And he's been willing to accept being a DH. We know how elite of a two-way player he can be when he's out there. His defense adds so much, and his offense has been incredible basically since 2019. But, he's willing to sacrifice the defensive side right now because he feels so good. And it's a great place for them to be in, because I can't tell you how consistently we've seen him in the lineup on a day game after a night game this year. It's been a few times where he's missed those, but that's one of those telltale signs to me, because he couldn't physically do that at times last year. The turnaround was too quick. The Twins have these awful 12-10 starts on Wednesdays and Thursdays on getaway day, and trying to get out of the ballpark at 11 o'clock at night and be back at 9 o'clock in the morning, his knee just couldn't withstand it at times. And so he's basically done a load reduction plan this year. There's not been much in the outfield. There's been base running, there's been BP, and there's been stretching. And he's cut down all the stuff he's had to do, and he feels great physically. Here we are in May. He had never played more games through the end of April in his career than he has this year. He's stealing bases again, and his bat has started to take off. And you can understand why the Twins want him to do this until he feels comfortable going to center field. And you can understand why he is willing to do it, because he makes such a difference with them. It is a huge factor for them in how many games he plays.
But do you also think that having Baldelli, who faced similar health issues, I remember when I was over in Baltimore, that's all everybody talked about with Tampa was Baldelli. But then I remember he wasn't in the lineup, and it came out that he was battling some personal health issues. You think that having someone who has the sympathy for that, and in a way that understands, like, not necessarily sympathy, like, oh, you can't play, but understands that you can give me 100% this way, not necessarily this way.
I absolutely think that's a big factor, and that's been there the entire way. This is nothing new. My first season covering the Twins was 2018. The Twins were 7-4. Byron Buxton got a migraine when the team went to Puerto Rico. They gave him a few days off. He fouled a pitch off of his toe, fractured toe, missed a month, came back, struggled. They sent him down at the end of May. He hurt his wrist while he was in the minor leagues. He never played again that season. I mean, this is something that he's been dealing with throughout his career. So I think Rocco came in knowing that this is a guy that there's a little bit of a history of this. Let's take care of him and do everything we can. And I think when you have Carlos Correa also playing a big role and leading that way and saying, look, Byron Buxton always talks about how important it is that the guys in the clubhouse have his back. And he's felt that very much this last year. Plus, you can tell, and you can just see in the way he is confident about this approach. Of course, he'd love to be out there being, probably a 3-WAR defensive player on top of a 4.5, 5-WAR offensive player. He would love to be producing that. But I think having Michael Taylor, a Gold Glover who's one of the best center fielders defensively in the game right now, gives him a little bit more confidence that there's no drop off when he's not out there. I think all those factors really have him in a good spot right now.
Dan, your colleague at The Athletic, James Fegan, tweeted yesterday a quote from Keenan Middleton, who said he was excited to face Carlos Correa to close the game because he doesn't like him. Quote, he's a cheater. And he faced the Astros a lot in his AL West days. Your thoughts?
I got to talk to Carlos about it this morning, and he definitely responded about as smoothly as you possibly can. There was a little hint of shade in there, but he came back and said, I've heard worse. I'm just happy for Keenan that he's here and he is producing again and able to take care of his family. And Correa's heard so much of this. I mean, we're going to Dodger Stadium in 2 weeks, and he's going to hear about it over and over again. You can hear it in every cold weather game at the Cell. It's yelled loudly. We were at Yankee Stadium. So I think he's accustomed to it. He's moved on as much as he can, and there's going to be reminders throughout. How long that goes, we'll see, but it doesn't seem to adjust or to bother him. It wouldn't shock me to see him hit a home run today and kind of silence the critics a little bit more.
Hey, stop that. Stop that nonsense, okay?
You would be pissed too if you were Correa,
I'd be pissed.
And you would throw that shade out there. You
100%.
would. Oh, I'm so happy for Middleton that he's still in the league now.
I'd be like, I hope I face him again because I'm going deep. And when I do, you ain't going to see a bat toss like this. But my whole thing with this is, okay, Middleton, you had a good start in the Angels, and he went away for years. Disappeared. Wouldn't it mean more if this came from, I don't know, Mike Trout, Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer, not Keenan Middleton, who's kind of been in the bushes for a couple. Listen, he's got good stuff, but dude, Keenan Middleton, if it's Ohtani and he's like, yeah, back in, I was pitching and you were banging on trash cans, he's a cheater. But man, I mean, Middleton I kind of think Correa handled it right. It was kind of a slap like shoe fly. Oh, I'm happy he's back. He's like, who the hell is Keenan Middleton? Like, see you later, dude.
Yeah. And he's faced this for so long that I think he's just been a pro at it. And we were talking to Rocco about it after we left his office, and Rocco had already heard the comments, and he's like, it's pretty much exactly how I would have addressed it. And I think that's Carlos has a good head on his shoulders. He's who he is, obviously on the field, but he's as much who he is because of the way he approaches all types of situations. It's been a lot of fun to chronicle it over these last 13 months, whatever it's been. He's just a different kind of player, and it's all around.
Dan, Guardians were picked to win this division before the season by most everybody. Twins, White Sox, the Royals, Tigers, and whatever. But it was mainly those three teams. Who wins the division? Is it the Twins? Do the Guardians? Because Guardians have just been okay. The White Sox have been crap. We all know it. We talked about it. The other two teams are kind of just there. They're rebuilding, whatever you want to. So is it the Twins? Is this the Twins division now to lose?
If the pitching stays the way it is, I think it is. Joe Ryan has found another level. Pablo Lopez has found another level. Sonny Gray has been outstanding and healthy. You got those three guys going. The Twins haven't had that in my time here. They've had some good rotations, Barrios and Jake Odorizzi in 2019, but consistently, they've got Bailey Ober to step in for Kenta Maeda, and he's a good number 4 guy. We'll see on the 5th spot, Tyler Mahle, that is going to hurt them. They're at the point already where they can't really sustain another long-term injury in the rotation. So that's going to be the factor. It was the same thing last year. I think the Twins were probably, they had their bullpen woes, but they solved those at the trade deadline. And I thought they did a really good job there. Their bullpen got way better from August on. The injuries caught up with them. If they can keep sustaining this, that's a great place for them to be. The fact is, we can talk about the Yankees and their offense and just how rough it is without Aaron Judge there. Twins beat the Yankees, and this is a good stat. I looked this up to see where both of you guys were. Adam and I were both in San Diego still at that time. I was still at San Diego State. AJ, that was your first full season, the last time the Twins beat the Yankees in the season series. I know you had a big hit in the game that they locked up the season series in 2001. That's the kind of thing that they don't do. They always struggle against the Yankees. Byron Buxton, that was his first series victory last week over the Yankees in his career. In 2018, he was down. In 2017, he was down. Those are the only 2 times in Byron Buxton's career that started in 2015 that the Twins have beat the Yankees in this series. And so I think they're playing good, sound ball. Their pitching is way better than I think a lot of people thought it would be, and that's making a difference. Whether or not they can sustain it, we'll see, because the injuries certainly killed them last year.
So is that going to change? Some Yankee fans jokingly lately have been like, it's all right, we'll stumble through things. We're hurt right now, but our strategy is we make it to the playoffs and we beat the Twins' ass.
Yeah.
So what's different this year?
Yeah, it's. I'm not a very big believer in those kinds of things, but it's been hard to ignore the evidence since I've been here. Just what it's like. It's like the Yankees see that Twins uniform and they instantly get healthy. Like they instantly feel good. But maybe that's why the Twins changed uniforms this offseason, was to throw the Yankees off a little bit.
Okay, so I've gotten into a Twitter beef with people on this. The M with the star on the top. I get it, the North Star, the whole deal. The M is similar to the Marlins. I know it's not identical, but when you look at it, you think Marlins. You don't think Minnesota, right? Why didn't they? Listen, I love the uniforms except for the M hat. Okay, the gray pinstripes, all the new uniforms I love. I think they're great. Yeah. Could they not have just done the star, or could they have done a different kind of M like they used to have with the star on top? It just looks like they half did it and didn't want to fully commit to it.
Maybe that's what the alteration will be in 2 years to sell a new hat. You know, that's okay. Always the possibility, because who knows? But you're right. It's the one thing that sort of stands out different, and they knew it was going to be a talking point. I love the Twin Cities look with the TC, the cream and the blue. It sort of feels like a throwback. I love some of the pinstripe stuff. The M, it's the one part that I think everybody is very divided on. But the thing is that people were very divided on the last M when it came in 1991. Twins won the World Series, and everyone stopped talking about it. They fell in love with it. So I think if they win, people will probably be a little bit more okay with it. It certainly is like a 40-60 split amongst fans, though, that like versus dislike.
It's just weird to me, like whoever the designer was has never watched a Marlins game. That's for sure. They have never seen the Marlins. They don't even know they exist, which is fine. I mean, that's their right, and the Marlins certainly can disappear. So it happened. Dan, I want to ask you about two players. Number one, was Sonny Gray pissed that he didn't win Pitcher of the Month? He has stiff competition for the Cy Young race right now with Garrett Cole. And then one of our fans in the chat, Toasty, said, if you can fit this question in, Edouard Julien kind of broke out at the WBC. What are the chances he gets some run this year? I know he's played. He's made, I think, 8 appearances in games. But dude can swing the bat. Correa told us he was one of his favorites to watch in spring training.
Yeah. Sonny Gray, I think maybe he'll use it as fire. But look, Garrett Cole had a few more innings, a few more strikeouts, had one more win. Sonny Gray it doesn't take away from the fact that Sonny Gray was excellent. Apparently, the second place guy gets like a trophy of a hand. I haven't seen it yet. And Joe Ryan got one last year. So the Twins are getting, like, this is the second time in the last couple of months. But Sonny Gray was outstanding. I could tell in spring training. I talked to him last year. He was rushed. He came into camp last year, and he had just started throwing 4 days before lockout ended. He had to shut down for a few days, or 3 weeks leading up to it. So he felt like he was behind the ball all year last year. And we've seen a different Sonny Gray this year. You can tell exactly why. Like, he's healthy. He threw 15 bullpens coming into camp and just felt like he was totally prepared for it. And he wants to get better with old age. He's talked about that. He's been electric. That game against the Astros, 13 strikeouts. There were some shadows, and guys were talking about how tough it was. And I think you guys remember back, Martin Maldonado had multiple pass balls in that game, or maybe it was wild pitches combo. But that doesn't happen. So there were some funky shadows. But Sonny Gray kept going and backing that up, and he's been electric and nothing short of like a guy they should look into extending next year instead of letting him walk as a free agent. So maybe he'll use that as a little fuel. He seems like the guy that likes fuel, but I don't think you can look at Garrett Cole and go, that was a bad choice. Garrett Cole had a pretty amazing month too. As far as Edouard Julien, I think it's really dependent on health of Jorge Polanco. Jorge Polanco has come in and done exactly what he always does, which is steady the middle of the lineup. Edouard Julien takes a great plate appearance, and he hit a home run in his second game, and he hit another one at Fenway. He looks like a guy who can handle it up here. The defense will be a big part for him, and I think he is working on that heavily. But for a guy who's come along the last couple of years the way he has, he's got some serious promise and a very interesting player for them.
Dan, we appreciate the time. Great to catch up with you, and would love to do it again down the road.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
Wait, before you go, Dan,
What?
smack Bob Bechtel and Mike Herman for me when you see him, please.
I absolutely
One
will.
with each
I'll tell
hand.
them it came from you. Yes.
You got to tell
absolutely.
everyone who that is.
Bob Bechtel is the PR guy for the White Sox,
Yep.
and Mike Herman is the director of travel, not the traveling secretary for the Twins.
Director of Travel is a bougier name. I like that.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, you can read all of
Yeah,
Dan's
good
articles in The Athletic, and we'll post the Twitter account as well. Dan, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Awesome. Dan, and it's at Dan Hayes MLB if you want to follow him, Twins writer for The Athletic. So we'll get back to some big topics, but I want to jump right into our BetMGM locks. And we do this earlier today, and here's why. There's day games, and the guy sitting next to me really wanted to go over today's day games and not make his lock a night game. So first off, let's appreciate, and really actually, I need a little golf clap. Wednesday's locks were a clean sweep. We also had our guy, Peter from Just Baseball on. He swept as well. So we went 4 for 4 with our gotta have it locks, okay? White Sox, UW, Ohtani. I think he hit that pretty early. And I tailed everyone, and I have the receipts to prove it. And for me, yes, I was up late. Seattle, down a run. AJ Pollock, epic at bat. And then in the 10th, they destroyed them.
Wow.
We'll get to it. 7-11 AJ, starting to make a climb. 8-16 Kratzy. I'm at 16-9. And look at Adam. 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
Adam's got to
Yeah,
lead
lost
things
that
off
last
for
game.
us. Yeah, but
That was a bad time last time. That was a terrible pick. I had Strider on the mound. I didn't even take Strider. Are you kidding me? I'm an idiot.
did you?
Well-
What was your loss last time? Was it Baltimore?
No, it was Strider at the Strider at home against the Marlins. But I was thinking Cabrera. He's nasty. What an idiot.
Yeah, but you've been picking the Orioles at the right time. That's your go-to.
Yeah. I mean, they're a hard-nosed team, and they don't give up. If you take the money line, you just go for the winner. You take.
Yes.
I'm not particular in taking who exactly wins.
Yeah, I'm a run line guy. For some reason, I'm just a sucker
And how many?
for the better odds. But let's do our BetMGM locks of the day for Thursday. And since Adam still has a pretty shiny record, let's see what you got. Are you going back to the Bravos?
I think I am. Let's see. What is it? Braves at Marlins. Yes, I am going back there.
And minus 110 money line.
I mean, they
for
beat the crap
Atlanta.
out of them. It's not a lot. They beat the crap out of them last night. You had Stallings come in and strike out the superstars, man. Come on, you forget Acuna Jr. That was hilarious. That was awesome. He took a gangster hack and missed. But the Braves these are the wins these are why the Braves are the Braves, and they have such a sizable lead and 21 wins already. They take care of business, so have them winning tonight.
It's Dylan Dodd, who has not looked great so far
Luzardo's been
against
pretty good,
Luzardo,
though.
who I like. That's why I was just going to say to Adam,
That's fine.
I don't know
Get
if
to the
I'm telling
bullpen,
you
man.
on this one.
They got their offense. Their offense is good enough to whack around Luzardo.
I'll tell you what, if
too.
it's a one-run game,
They're good.
I'm taking the Marlins because they're like 11-0 in one-run games, 10-0, I think. in
Yeah, but
one-run
that's
games.
bound to break. That's going to change.
I thought when it
Braves
was 8-0
bullpen's good.
and they were doing it and they won, and they won another one.
But that is why you get pretty favorable odds for a Braves-Marlins matchup. You know, you hope that you hang around in the first 5, and then you punish them later on when the Marlins probably can't score. So, okay, fair. AJ?
I am going Milwaukee at Colorado, run line minus 1.5, because I just think Milwaukee has sucked the first 2 days in Coors Field, and nobody goes 3 days in a row sucking at Coors Field usually. Wade Miley is going to go out and pitch well. He's a veteran guy. I just think, honestly, the Brewers are due, and we need some love for Brew Crew territory. So let's go Brewers.
And Miley is a 1.86 ERA so far this year. And we've talked to a couple of the Brewers people that are like, he looks great. He's a high ground ball guy. That works for Colorado.
There's a cutter in on the righties.
Mm-hmm. And that works in
Works
Colorado.
fast.
I know the Rockies. When we talked to Peter yesterday, said they punish lefties, but I think Miley has the right mix. Plus, he's a veteran guy.
Mm-hmm.
So he's pitched in Coors Field before. He can cut it in on those righties. He knows how to deal with the elements. So that's why I went And plus, to be honest with you, there just wasn't a lot to choose from. You guys put all this pressure on me this morning and say, you got to give me your pick. I'm like, but I wanted the Nats and the Cubs over because Corbin's pitching and
well, we get to follow that game
I
today.
know,
It's 3-0 right now. We're getting close to halfway through, so you might have been
be
saved.
happy. So thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we the one thing with our locks is you got to pick and choose based on the scheduling. So for me, I'm telling you, I didn't know that you were picking them, but I'm in, baby. We're collabing tonight or today. Milwaukee run line for me as well. Connor Siebold, first start of the season. He's a reliever, so it's basically a bullpen game. And the Brewers scoring 3 runs in the first 2. Yeah. I mean, they're going to score 8.
My whole thing is, plus I've learned from you now, Scott, that I got to look at the numbers, right? The plus 100, and because you want to find value in picks.
Correct.
Because there's games where you look at it, you're like, oh, they're minus 350 or 250. You're like, well, geez, I'm not throwing down 250 to win 100 in a game they should win. So, yeah, you got to find value in picks. And Coors Field is a place where the Brewers brew crew, let's go. You should score some runs in 3 games, not 3 runs in 2 games.
Sometimes people try to talk me out of money lines. I get in like themes where I'll ride money lines for a bit and then I ride run lines. So I'm in a run line ride right now. And right now we're running bet 10, get 100 instantly if you use the promo code SPICYMLB. Sign up and deposit at least $10 into your newly created account, and you download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. You place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win its standard odds price, and you receive $100 in bonus bets instantly. Or if you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, it's $200 in bonus bets, but you got to use the bonus code SPICYMLB. So first up, I want to go back to the doubleheader talk for a moment because we did receive an update from Mark, and I think it's so far back already. What's the number?
46%.
46% of doubleheaders end in sweeps?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And maybe it was just because I was on teams that never got – I don't remember getting swept.
Sorry that you're good, but can we now give more credit to the Mets? 25 doubleheaders without being swept? That's a very large number. A lot.
Way to go, Mets. You just got swept by the Tigers, and you're losing today. Good job.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the record is
exactly. Hey, way to go! The record's great. You're about to might lose 3 in a row to the Tigers. Who going into it, you would have said with their way the pitching lined up, they would have won all 3 of those games. Scherzer, Verlander, Lucchesi. You would have said probably going into that the Mets were favored to win all 3 of those games. No, Scott? Yes, Scott?
Heavily favored. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
The Mets against the Tigers are going to be favored in every single game. There's not, because of course sometimes the game will tilt based on the starting pitching matchup, of course, right? Like White Sox are often going to be favored when Cease is on the mound, even if they suck. Marlins with Luzardo versus Dylan Dodd. But for the Tigers against the Mets, can you find me a game where they wouldn't be favored based on what they look like on paper with a pitching matchup? Who's the ace of the Tigers right now?
Rodriguez.
Okay.
Erod.
So if it's Erod against, let's say, David Peterson or Lucchesi or something, maybe it's more even. But yes, generally they're going to be favored, if not heavily favored.
Okay. So it's a big upset if they lose all 3.
It is.
Mets fans will be happy if
I bet you Tigers sweep was like plus maybe 1,000 or something like that heading into this, because you can of course bet on a series too. So by the way, Scherzer said about the outing, the ovation from fans, because he's going back to Detroit and he's getting taken out in the 4th inning, and he is pissed as can be. He's pissed about the suspension. He's pissed that he didn't pitch well. And fans in Detroit, Midwest nice, are like, yeah, Max. And they're not even being sarcastic, I think. I mean, I wasn't there.
No, they weren't.
But they're not being sarcastic like, yeah, you know how like Yankee fans or Mets fans or Phillies fans or whatever, if a starter gets rocked, they'll like cheer him and be like, yeah, man, we kicked your ass. In Detroit, they're like, yeah, we love you, Max. And he was saying it's bittersweet. It's tough to have something feel good when you don't pitch well, but very appreciative of the fans here and their support. I can only imagine Max inside.
Yeah, inside he was
wanting to be like,
calm down.
Shut
Everybody
up.
Slow down.
I'm pissed.
Adam, how much did you hate doubleheaders? I hated. I only had to play one of the games. You had to play 2, especially the day-night pieces, right? Just play 2 and get them. Just play 9 and then just start the next 9. We don't need the 4-hour break in between.
I mean, to be honest with you, I love the 7-inning ones, and I remember we did them in AAA, and they adopted them for the COVID year. It's better for your health. More pitchers, I believe, throw complete games in those. because you have a second game just for some odd reason. Subconsciously, the game goes quick. They just go quicker. But 2-9s are tough. But hey, it's what you sign up for. You always got one off, which is great. Hell, I would catch an 18. No, barely want to catch 9. So, yeah, it's a long day. Day nights are worse because it's two completely different crowds. You sit down for 3 hours and just do nothing, and just wait and wait and wait for the second game to start. You don't take batting practice again. You literally do nothing until game time. So that was a little bit more just boring. But if you just knock them out, if 1 and a 4, let's get it going. Let's get it out.
Okay, Ohtani time. So
Again?
he struck out 13 yesterday. No, we're recapping the game from yesterday. What do you mean again? We're going to talk about him a lot.
Ohtani. You're like
I love
Verlander's
Ohtani.
brother.
Check out our YouTube channel.
You're Ben Verlander.
The world loves Ohtani. No,
True.
I don't love him nearly as much as my dude Ben. Ben's a great dude. I mean,
Yeah.
Ben's also
Ben.
spent time with him, interviewed him, all that.
Fox
and-
sent him to Japan to go over. Like, I want to go to Japan. Adam, don't you
He
want to go to
probably
Japan
cried
on
with
someone
him.
else's dime?
100%.
He did do that for 2 years.
I know.
100%.
He got a free trip to
Problem-
Japan for 2
Problem
years.
is he got paid to go over there. Problem is he's an outfielder. They don't bring over very many catchers.
No,
there's,
former catchers.
There's one catcher there that he's a Cuban guy. He played with Team Cuba. He's the only foreign catcher. Honestly, a friend of mine asked me, Caleb Joseph was like, man, could I come over there and catch? They're thinking about bringing me over to catch. I said, the stupidest thing you could ever do with your career is to come over here and catch, because it is literally like instructs every single day. Now, again, AJ, when you show up to spring training, I've been to the mine. I've actually suited up and wore the tools of ignorance and went through a day with the catchers just to feel how much of jackasses you guys really are to put this stuff on. Okay? just and it was hell. And you guys have to do it all spring training. And I get it. That's saying we grind for spring training. Once the season starts, obviously you're not sitting down there and catching drills and all that kind of stuff. Just you play the game. In Japan, it is the instructs first week of spring training every single day in June, July, August. It does not stop. If anybody seen Team Japan when they came to Miami on the sidelines when Team America was taking batting practice, they were on the side doing catching drills where the logos were. They mapped out a space and just did catching drills where the logo was, throwing down the second. They do this every single day. In 2 years, I had one show and go. 2 years. Well, the team had one show and go. I had plenty of show and go. The team had one show and go. And they work, and I asked them, if you didn't do this today and you missed a ball, or do you think you can catch a game and not take the practice? Like, what happens if you miss a ball? They're like, oh, I feel really ashamed if I don't practice. It's a shame that my ass. Okay, the ball was nasty. It was a fork that bounced 48 feet. You ain't supposed to catch it. It's gonna hit you in the throat. It's supposed to get by you. It's okay. But they no catcher, I think, and no American catcher would be bright enough to do that.
By the way, Caleb Joseph, you know the famous stat about Caleb Joseph, right?
I'm his teammate. Of course I know the jackass's favorite.
What's the favorite stat about Caleb Joseph?
He went through a whole season without an RBI.
He went a whole year without an RBI, and he had like 150 at-bats.
No, here's the kicker of jackass. He took the team to arbitration.
He had zero for a whole year. Zero.
And you know what I would say in my case? I would say,
come on, bro.
nobody got on base in front of me. You need to buy more players, Baltimore.
Oh, this is what Baltimore
I'm
was
telling you,
good,
no.
though.
No, I was hitting that year. I was hitting leadoff predominantly when he in his at bats, and it would be one out, man on third base, and he'd hit a bullet to the first baseman, a bullet to the third baseman where no one can go nowhere. He had lined out to the. I swear there was probably 10 or 15 instances where it was an RBI, but he hit it too hard to the wrong person. You know what I mean? And then I come up and fling something, and I look in the dugout, and that's how you get it, baby. That's how you get him.
Did you guys give him shit?
What? And then he went to arbitration.
That's like impossible. Think about it. It's impossible. You would think you'd hit a double and a dude would fall down and a guy would score from first.
No, I'm telling you, he'd hit a double, and they hold the guy up because I don't know. There were so many instances where he had a chance for an RBI, and I'm just on deck like waiting for him to slide, waiting, and nothing happened.
I got to see how many at bats he had.
This is why we need this show, though, because if reporters, and I'm sure they did, came into the clubhouse afterward and they asked some other players about it, they'd be like, yeah, he's working his ass off. He's going to get it. But really, you want the answer to be like, yeah, we give him shit. He hasn't had an RBI all year.
He had 132 at-bats. 132 at-bats that year.
Yeah.
132 at-bats, 23 hits, 3 doubles, no homers, obviously, no RBIs. You would think at one of those 132, whoever was hitting eighth would be on third, no outs, and they play the infield back, and you just hit a dribbler to the shortstop in a 10-0 game.
Nope.
That was 2016, by the way.
Or he would line out to right field, and he ain't got no pop, so the right fielder's playing shallow as hell. Come in, and you can't throw him in. A guy got thrown out. I remember our third base coach sent the guy. We shouldn't have sent him, but tried to get him an RBI. Thrown out by 20 feet, but he tried to get him an RBI.
Somebody has to run a video, like a compilation video, where they put together all of his line drive into a glove. All the stuff that Adam's talking about basically has to be put together into a highlight reel.
He did all right, like 9 homers, 11 homers, 8 homers. Like the other years were fine, but just the 1 year, 0 homers, 0 RBI.
That is epic.
0.
I love that. I just love guys.
But he goes to ARB.
Yeah.
Oh, but he goes to ARB. And
he lost. Obviously, I'm assuming he lost at ARB, right?
They're gonna say, bro, what are you doing here?
That is so good. Well, on the topic,
but you say, because now all the sabermetrics guys say RBIs don't matter.
Yeah,
hey, RBIs don't matter.
Hard hit rate, like you see.
That's right. Statcast says I have 40 RBIs.
I should have 40 RBIs.
My expected RBIs. That actually would be hilarious if you stood up.
My runs created over this would, square rooted would say this number.
See, I wish it was like dim the lights, and it's a stand-up for Caleb, and he's like, I know what you're going to say. What the hell am I doing in arbitration with no RBIs? Well, let me tell you a little something about StatCast metrics. And a new stat I created called expected RBIs. And let's observe on the monitor behind me the amount of times I got screwed with line drives that went into gloves, or the amount of times they played me shallow, thinking he's not going to hit it over my head, and they were correct. It would just be awesome. Well, on the topic of futility, the Cardinals have lost 5 in a row. They're actually playing as we speak, and they're getting stomped. Flaherty's on the mound. He does not look the same right now. And they are 10-21. They have the worst record in the National League. Ohtani shut him down yesterday. And they still had the lead, though, late with Gallegos in the 9th.
But
Jake Lamb, dinger. Mike Trout,
dinger.
Good night.
But here's the thing. They got booed. They got booed in St. Louis. That doesn't happen. You don't get booed in St. Louis.
Heavily booed. Did you hear it?
booed off the field booed. Like when I used to get booed, that kind of booing, not like just a random boo, you stink booed. I mean, it was bad. I've never heard that. I've never, ever heard that in St. Louis. They cheer you for everything in St. Louis. So the fans are fed up. The front office is giving answers. Ollie Marmol's giving weird quotes about this and that, about we don't know what's going on. And Mozeliak's taking some heat, the president of baseball ops. So there's a lot to dig into in St. Louis, and we kind of talked about it earlier, but man, you do not hear the fans boo in St. Louis like they did last night.
You think they were right with not locking up Flaherty early? Like when he first came out in 18, 19, 20, we're like, I mean, we got another ace in our hand, young ace and dominant. And then obviously COVID just probably halted a lot of long-term conversations with a lot of people just because who knew their own individual spending futures. But do you think that they were right with not locking him up early? Because he was definitely that guy you go give 80, 100 million to after the first, second year. So he's not costing you 200 like some of these guys are getting now.
Well, they made the right decision. It looks like it right now, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's good.
Listen, he's still fair the young.
But he's had shoulder issues.
He's just been hurt.
Right.
Shoulders are bad.
Shoulders
I don't
bad.
tell you. You don't want shoulders on pitchers. You can deal with elbows because they can fix those a lot better. You just never know with the shoulder how guys are going to bounce back. And he's kind of been up and down. And, very inconsistent. We talked about guys getting hurt and missing time and doing all this, like Byron Buxton, where they can't stay on the field. Well, Flaherty hasn't been able to give them 32 starts a year, 30 starts a year consistently, and that's when you lock guys up, is with the guys that can give you 30 starts a year.
Yeah.
Luke goes, speaking of Cardinals, Randy just went deep.
That's why you didn't see me go like
ouch,
this.
I did see you go. That's why I brought it up too. There's been some outfielder moves that have
Think
burned
about
them.
who they had. The Cardinals. They had Alcantara, Sandy.
Damn.
Yeah.
They had Arozarena. They traded Arozarena. Remember the famous Mike Schilt video? Do you remember seeing that? He went Instagram Live
Yes.
and showed Mike Schilt cussing after they beat someone in the playoffs, and that was Randy, and they got rid of him because of that. He didn't even know what he was doing, I don't think.
No.
Because this is right when he had come over. He didn't speak English. He had no idea what he was doing. And then they had Sandy Alcantara,
Adolis Garcia is pretty good.
Adolis Garcia. They've had
Whoa.
they've had a slew of guys they've traded away
Yes.
that have become studs.
It
Yeah.
burns right now. It's and yes, just an option. So they're getting spanked. Yeah.
But
I
they
mean,
had some
that's-
studs too. You can't just say they didn't. I mean, they got some studs too here. They love
True.
Harrison Bader. They love Donovan. They love
Well, Bader's gone.
O'Neal.
They got Montgomery
I
from
mean,
Bader.
he's gone now.
Yeah,
They love
O'Neal's
him.
gone
I
in a
mean,
month
O'Neal's
yeah.
going to be gone. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
they
he got
loved all
in
those
shit with
guys,
Marmol.
too.
Yeah.
Right.
they had
so
Yadi
they
Molina.
had-
He's gone.
That's a
they had
big one.
plethora of guys. That's a big one.
That seems the biggest for me. Wilson Contreras is a great player, but losing Yachty, kind of like what the Giants lost Buster Posey. Yachty was there for almost 20 years. Every single day, you knew what you were going to have behind the plate. Nobody would shake him off. I played with Yachty for half a year. I've never seen one player run an organization the way Yachty did. It was Mike Matheny would come to him and ask him. He wasn't even on the active roster. Mike Matheny would come to Yachty and say, "Should we take the pitcher out?" And Yachty would be like, "I don't know. Watch you ask the catcher. He's sitting right there." And I was the catcher. He would ask Yachty. I'm like, he's not a coach. He's not the GM.
He is.
He was. I'm telling you, I've never seen one player, and I played with Barry Bonds, and I played with Paul Konerko, and I played with Adrian Beltre, I played with some all-time great guys and great players. The way Yachty was treated in that organization was off the charts.
He was the Don of the Cardinals.
Yes. No, Don, yeah. I mean, he was.
Yachty, like Todd Frazier. Yachty, we got a problem.
Yeah.
All right, let me fix this.
Yeah.
He was a little bit GM, a little bit manager. I mean, he would be an epic manager.
Yeah. We'll see.
His IQ, I don't think he's going to do it, but his IQ is
Absolutely.
off the charts.
And he knows how to talk to people.
Yeah. They're missing him.
Plus, he has
It's
a neck.
different.
He has a neck tattoo, so he's tough.
Yeah, you're
Remember when
not
Wainwright said
fucking
that?
with him. Yep. I remember
That
when
means you
Red
can
said
fight.
that.
Yep.
Exactly. You don't mess with the
Although,
neck
did you see
tattoo.
the kid in the draft the other day? The 13-year-old Anthony Richardson's brother was 13, neck tattoo.
Oh, really?
13 years old. Neck
13?
tattoo right here.
Well, same thing. I'm not messing with him.
Yeah.
You usually get those when you have a financial setting going for the future. That's when AI did it. That's Allen Iverson did it. He was like, I made enough money. Wham! This is my expression. It doesn't work if you're going to have to work for somebody. You're going to be wearing turtlenecks your whole life, and it's going to be tough and hot. So that's why I say these kids, like, they just go up and ink themselves up so quickly, and then, like, you ain't got the pot to piss in yet, young man, young lady. Wait till you ain't got to work for nobody. Then you do all that stuff.
Our company, you can have tattoos. You can do whatever you
You
want.
got tattoos?
I don't. But if I did, I would be on this show and I wouldn't be wearing a turtleneck.
You'd be shirtless?
No, I wouldn't be shirtless.
Okay.
No.
Good.
Go get an artist to do like a hentai snake or something down like right here, and it'll stay for a couple weeks and see how you're looked up when you go out and get a coffee.
Yeah. I'm gonna get foul territory just right across
Oh,
the
you
neck.
should do the one like in what was it? We're the Millers, no regrets, and spell it wrong, and be like,
No
not even
regrets.
one,
regrets.
Yeah.
not even one, not even one word.
So, former Cardinal, and you brought him up, Harrison Bader. Did you see the collision yesterday
Yeah, that was
for the
bad.
Yanks? That was
Yeah.
tough. Oswald Peraza left with the
And Flaherty's leaving with
leg
the trainer
injury.
right now as we speak.
oh shit.
I mean, it is 7-2.
This is a tough injury week
Yeah.
for the sport right
That's
now.
not good. Dang it.
Yeah. Yankees did win though. Pinch hit
Yeah.
walk off from your
Our
boy,
Trina.
Jose Trevino.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the new stars of the Yankees are Willie Calhoun and Jake Bowers.
Dude, Jake
Oh,
Bowers.
what about happened the first week? What happened the first week with Franchi? I thought he was.
Nope.
Adam,
did
Franchi's
you
old
see-
news.
did you see Jake
Franchi, the thing is with Franchi too, and I know he's a BP show guy. He's Willie Mo Pena, but have you spent some time watching him in the outfield?
No, I don't want to watch him in the outfield.
I was like, does he know how to play the outfield?
He doesn't. He played first.
I mean, a
He
ball
played
goes in
first.
the
He needs to
air,
go
and
to
I'm like,
Japan.
dude, it's over there. It's over there.
He needs to go to
He needs
Japan.
to go to
He
Japan
needs to
and
go.
DH.
But I say that with respect because you make $1 million in the big leagues, you make 200,000 in the minor leagues. You don't know where you're going to be. It's a fluctuation, a lot of fluctuation. You got a lot of bills. You don't know where you're going to be. Bus rides, stress, getting cussed out to media, all the fans. You understand everybody. They speak Spanish. You speak Spanish. Go to Japan, make 800 or million guaranteed, no matter what. You ain't got to understand nobody. Just go hit. I was watching a game last night. Remember, is it Gregory Polanco, big fella, for the Pirates?
For Pittsburgh, yeah.
Yeah, he signed an early deal here, made a good amount of money, and then was bouncing around, got released. He was like, man, I'm gonna go over there where I can make the max money. And I seen him go deep last night for the game winning home run. So, like, Franchi is a fantastic talent. I've watched him so much. But it's like you're a 4A player at sometimes. And you just at this age, he's getting older now. He's lost the prospect status. He's 28, I believe. Go to Japan and make your money, man. Go over there and hit 30 and make your money.
And you're right, yeah. Gregory Polanco, 31 years old.
Yeah,
That's
and he can go over there and
crazy.
make his money.
Yeah,
Brandon Laird
yeah.
went over there and made their money. Vladimir Ballantyne, these guys go over there and make your money. I get it. We want to play Major League Baseball. This is the dream come true. You can go over there and make a lot of money and buy your own damn 401k. Okay, you can do it. You make enough.
Take it from the guy who did it multiple years.
Yeah,
You're right.
I took it.
Okay, I want to get your
Nice,
take
man.
on this.
I wasn't doing that shit.
What? Going overseas?
No, not. I mean, when I had people saying come play Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but then after
Exactly.
that,
Yeah, but I was 40 years old. I wasn't going to Japan at 40 years old
why not?
because my damn kids are old.
You're a world traveler.
True. I've been to Japan, but I don't want to go live over there for 8 months when my kids are like in middle school.
Okay.
One day, if you have kids, you'll understand.
Yeah, I had
I'm
young
gonna
kids.
play in Japan
My
Yeah,
first.
see, he's got young kids. When you're young kids,
My
are
kids
different.
were
They'll go
young.
anywhere. They don't know the
Yeah.
difference.
Right.
But when you get older and they got friends and they got
Oh, I know. I know the
Stuff.
skit. I
they
know how
got
it works.
stuff, it's hard.
Yeah, but now you can go to your kids and say, you guys screwed me out of the best food of my life and a few $1 million more.
I think my kids are doing just fine.
Let's hit that's what he said. And I want to go right to the Rays first because a lot of people have asked us to cover this today. Wander Franco. Can we do a demo? So here it is from Rays baseball. A fancy flip on a routine ground ball and a toss to first. One more angle, please, from the Rays Twitter. Styling. It's like going behind the back with a pass in the NBA. And AJ's holding a baseball.
Yeah, here's my thing.
Can you give us a live demo?
Why? It's just here's my thing, Adam. And I'm not the grumpy old man. I love the bat flips and I love all the stuff that's happening in the fun. Let's play fun. Let the boys play. I get it. My problem is I coach my kid's high school team. Guess what I have to do now? Because every kid in high school is going to see this and they're going to go, "Hey, I want to do the Wander Franco flip at shortstop," and then they throw it away or they drop it. You ain't Wander Franco, kids. You ain't probably going to be him. Just make the play. But when they see it on TV, every kid at every level says, "Well, I can do that." And Wander Franco can do that, but most 99.9% of the world can't do it. So do it in BP, have a great time. And I love it because it looks fun, it looks cool and all that. But please, now I got to answer questions to these kids about why in the holy hell can't I do? Like we got a game tonight, right? Our shortstop, if he goes like this and he drops it and we give up runs because of that, guess what? I'm going to grab him by the ear. I'm going to take him over in the corner and I'm going to say, "Hey, just because you saw a guy on TV do that doesn't mean you can do that. When you start getting paid millions of dollars and you want to do that, go ahead. But for now, work on just catching it and throwing a good throw to first." So I love it. It's fun. It's cool. It's all that good stuff. But just it makes it hard on us coaches.
And then he homered too.
Again, yeah, our shortstop's probably not going to do the flip. And if he hits a homer, good.
Your shortstop's also probably not going to be a $200 million shortstop on the Tampa Bay Rays.
But kids at 8, 9, 10 years old, they think they are.
I know, but I wanted to do 360 dunks when I was playing high school basketball, but I couldn't.
Short.
So if I tried, I'm 6'2", I could handle it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do a 360 dunk. Sorry. So if I tried it, my coach would have taken me out of the game. So I just don't do it. Let the pros be the pros.
No,
It sounds
I
a little
think
get
it's
off my
cool.
lawn.
No,
What?
I said I like it.
So you're saying don't do it because kids are going to copy you?
Yes.
Yeah, but kids are going to
Yep.
try to copy a lot of shit that
I
major
understand
leaguers
that. And then they
do
get in
on
trouble
the
and then they
field.
say, oh, my coach is so mean. He's yelling at me.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
copy
right.
the
I am
good
yelling at
stuff.
you.
Copy
Yeah,
the good stuff. Like
exactly.
it's a great play. It's great. Like I said, it's fun. If I was in center field and I seen that, I would have been like, what the hell? You made the play. Again, I played with JJ Hardy, who is just is by the book as it comes. But it's fun. It's awesome. Tampa's sexy. It fits what they're doing. It's like the Andrew Jones thing. He caught it like this. Then it started going lower and lower and lower. And Andrew Jones, 10-time Gold Glover. He dropped one. What did Bobby Cox do? Took him out the game. When I come in, me looking at that as a kid, I want to do that. Andrew Jones, you know what I mean? How Griffey caught it. How if you go to generation prior, how Ricky Henderson caught it with the snap. What happens when you snap and that ball come out? Like it always is that time that is the mistake. Just do it right. But AJ, you're right about that. Your kids are going to be like, hey, I've seen that. It's all over social media right now. Same with Steph Curry, how he's moved the 3-point line back and back and back and back. You see Lonzo Ball when he was, LaMelo Ball when he was in high school, shooting. As soon as he got the ball, got on the court, I'm shooting at 87 feet. Why not? I got the range. Kids nowadays, my kid's 9 years old, doing that kind of stuff. It's like, no, how about you just make 10 layups first? Just do this first. Just make the play. The superstar play always happens. It always will happen. The routine play does not need to be turned into a superstar play because if he threw it away, he's going to look like a damn fool. And then Cash is going to have to take him out. You got to. When you do something like that, you got to take him out. Like, it's glad that it happened. He made a great throw. But if that ball got away, he threw it in the crapper because you see it all the time. Guys get the ball, take their time, and then throw it as hard as they can, boom, right in the dirt. You know what I mean? So it's glad that it happened. He made a great throw. I would say not do it.
Here's my argument. Here's my argument to that. Here's my argument to that. Adam, you know who Jason Williams is? White chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the point guard.
Yeah,
who did all the fancy shit.
All the fancy. So he lives in Orlando. I played golf with him a million times. We asked him. We said, "Hey, how did you learn how to like do the elbow pass and fake behind your back?" He's like, "Well, I couldn't really shoot, so I had to be spectacular at something." And I said, "Well, how did you? But that doesn't mean you elbow pass and between your leg pass and all this stuff." He said, "I practice it every day in my yard." He said, "In my yard, I practice boom elbow pass, boom." He's like, "That's why when I got in a game and I did it, if you notice, he never really threw one away. No look pass. He said I get in the mirror and I practice."
He was so good.
He was so good, right?
Oh, he was so good.
But the problem is now kids are going to be at home and they're going to get a ground ball and they're going to go, "Ooh."
Okay, this is my point.
And then the dude's safe because he does that.
But you're playing to my point. Jason Williams did that. That was when I was kind of growing up playing hoops. Maybe I was in middle school or high school when he was doing that. And I did not copy him in a game or I would be taken out of the game. And even if I went home and practiced some of the shit that Jason Williams did, I would not have been able to pull it off. So I would have said, yep, I can't do this.
But kids are going to try
Not to
it.
that extent. Behind the back pass, okay. But some of the stuff he did one where he like knocked it off his elbow. It looked like
this way,
and one mixtape, which I also loved watching growing up.
But not everybody's the same athleticism.
Right. So he's a pro. He can do it. He likes to live dangerously. Right. Let him do it. If he fucks up, that's on him. But he clearly was confident enough that he's not going to mess it up.
Agree. But the problem is kids are going to try it now because it's a different world than when you grew up and when I grew up and when Adam grew up. Because kids now see it on Instagram and they say, well, I'm going to look cool if I do this. I might make it on Instagram. I might go viral on TikTok.
And kids are going to learn.
You see all these challenges that go on all these social medias, these stupid challenges that these kids do. I'm telling you, AJ, you're going to have a problem today.
No, we know we won't because the kids know. We won't. They're
going to watch this. They watch.
They do watch, but they know. They also know, listen, Roy Rodriguez, our shortstop, Eric Martinez, our third baseman, Matt Perez, our second baseman. Don't you do it.
Somebody's gonna do it. Somebody's gonna do the one hit off the elbow, boom, and catch it.
Don't you do it.
I'm just saying
because they know I'll rip their ass right out of
this to me is a no-brainer. Like the argument that a pro can't do something because a kid's gonna copy them. I mean, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Why don't we dip anymore? Why did the tobacco?
That's different. That's a safety issue. That's a health issue.
You know what?
Because that shit's terrible for you.
That's a parental issue.
What? That
Yeah, that's
kids are
parental
allowed to
issue
do
right
that?
there.
Yeah, but they can sneak
No, it's
away and do
parental
that.
issue.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, one of these
Dad, why is
isn't
it a
going
big bib?
Except for when he throws it away.
Who? Wander?
Not Wander, my kid.
Yeah, your kid, and then he goes to the bench.
Yeah.
And then this
But
is
then
a
he says,
valuable lesson,
But
kids.
coach, I saw Wander Franco do it.
And you're not Wander Franco.
I know.
Right.
But they don't understand that.
If you're the kid on the high school team and I'm your coach and you just tried to do that and you went and you dropped it or whatever, and then someone got to first, I yank you from the game. And I don't even have to say, I shouldn't have to say anything to a high schooler. He should know. But if you came up to me and said, hey, Wander Franco did it, I'd say, oh, cool. Are you Wander Franco? And then you'd say no. And then we'd say, all right, great. See you tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah.
You get to learn a valuable lesson as a child. You are
What
not
about
Wander
listening to their
Franco.
mom and dad wearing you out?
For doing that? Yeah,
Took my
because you
son
get
out
to
the game.
sit.
He's being recruited by Duke and Florida and Florida State and University of Miami's in town for the weekend, and you took him out the game. Then you just obviously tell the parent that your kid did a jackass move, and you tell the college recruits the same exact thing. Why did you take him out? Well, he did a jackass thing. Can you see that? You want this kind of fool in your organization? Do you? You know what I mean?
I think it's a valuable lesson in life, Adam. A valuable lesson in life is not everyone is the same. As in, not everyone has the natural ability to spin a baseball while a pro player is running to first, and you easily handle him because you have the timing down, you have the hand-eye coordination, the smoothness. You're playing in front of, well, especially in Tampa Bay, not many people.
You're playing it more than you played in high school, though.
I know. My point is, though, I just think it's harmless. And if he does it, that's fine. Now, if he screws up, he knows the ramifications
he's
of that. He's an adult.
So what if the shortstop what if Luke Volpe, what if he does that in Yankee Stadium?
If Anthony Volpe does it there?
Anthony Volpe. What if he makes the play though?
Then fine.
Still does it, but he makes the play in Yankee Stadium. What are they gonna say?
You're gonna say, shave your little peach fuzz beard.
Listen, I'm happy he made the play. I just don't want my kids doing it. That's all.
That's fine. Your kids don't have to do it, but he can do it.
That's what,
Volpe is shaving his whole body if he does something like that.
In Columbus.
No, just mustache.
He's shaving his whole body in Columbus is where he's shaving it.
Exactly. Did you see Jeter ever do something like this? What? Yeah. You know the organization?
You think Phil Rizzuto ever did that?
Also, it's cool to practice if you practice it by yourself,
yes.
Like not in a game. Also, knowing the difference between practice and game. Garrett Wilson, who's always with us every day, said, as a kid, I always used to do the Jeter jump throw. Cool. That's fun to practice.
That's different, though. That's trying to get it out. This is just trying to show the guy up, like, hey, look, I caught it. Way different. Different.
Hey, if you got it, flaunt it.
I love Brian Reynolds. Yeah, I saw it. Kind of tired. Good answer. What did he say?
Well, yeah, Brian Reynolds says tired.
Whatever.
So my question off of that, so the follow-up to me here is baseball still get off my lawn enough that someone's going to hit him for doing that?
No.
Well, that's good then. Good. We've come a long way.
No.
Because guess what? 10 years ago, next at bat, he's getting smacked.
He wouldn't have did it.
Right. So good.
You just wouldn't have done it. No, you wouldn't have done it.
The game's more entertaining then.
20 years ago, you definitely wouldn't have done it. You wouldn't have even thought of doing it.
As they said in Major League, nice plays. Hayes, don't ever fucking do it again.
Exactly. For a reason. Like, that's for a reason.
That's how it was.
Yeah, make the routine play. Don't make the routine play difficult. And the best players in the game do not make the routine play difficult. So
they make the difficult.
We like
plays
it. Again,
easy.
me and AJ like it. We like the fun.
Yeah, quit trying to make us old man get off my lawn. No, we like it.
But you're saying, don't do it.
Routine plays. No, you make up. It's 27 outs. It's not 28 because an out is valuable because that run can turn into 6. Get the out. Now, if it was a backhand or a play that took him up the middle and he spun and it was flying out of the web of his glove and he caught it barehanded and had to twist and make an acrobatic play, yeah, he caught the ball, set his feet, flipped it. Like, if it's acrobatic, you do what you got to do. If it's routine, you make the routine play. That's always the rule of thumb. I grew up a shortstop, wasn't that good, so I went into center field. But I remember they used to say make the routine play, and I couldn't. That's why I went out to center field. So that's why I emphasized on making a routine play.
Yeah, and you played. You're right. You played with Mr. Traditional, JJ.
JJ.
He was
caught it, and I'm talking about right over the top, four-seamer, right in the pecho.
JJ Hardy was like the Tim Duncan of shortstops, Mr. Fundamental.
100%. Yep.
Mr. Fun. A lot of basketball references today.
He never practiced anything fun either. Like he never practiced. Manny would take a small glove and Scope would go and have fun. CD would go to third base. I'd go to third base. We'd have fun. JJ would let me just get my work in.
Made a lot of money on some gold gloves. I mean,
Yeah.
he did it
Made
right.
a lot of money doing it. Hey, if kids, Google J.J. Hardy. Look at him. Okay, that's probably what you're gonna be like more or less anyway.
I like the fun shit. All right, another one for That's What He Said. Brian Cashman did his State of the Yankees based off the injuries.
Now this was get out my lawn.
Underperformance.
Was
Was it?
quote, kind of, yeah.
Okay, let's run it.
Unfortunately, in the position we're in, we're going to be thankful that it's a long season because we're banged up so bad right now. If it was a short season, we'd be taken out. But we have time to make up ground, and we're going to compete with who we have here, and we look forward to getting who we need back, at a later date. Don't give up on us. That's all I can tell you. Don't count us out. Don't give up on us. We got a good group of people, player-wise, staff-wise, support staff-wise. It's a championship caliber operation.
Why are you shaking your head? That's good. I like GMs hitting the media during the bad times.
I understand that, but he's also saying, I have a track record, we have a track record. Even though we're not good right now, we're going to be fine because of my track record.
Well, they make playoffs every year.
They do. But he could have, I just thought he could have worded it a little better. We're going to be okay. We're going to be fine. Don't give up on us. Like, who's giving up on the Yankees? No one's giving up on the Yankees. Everyone thinks they're going to be good.
Do you see Yankees on social media and in comment sections sometimes?
I mean, fans are
Yankees,
fans.
Right. Well, that was the message.
Don't give
Yankees
up.
Well,
I don't think they're still selling out
them.
40,000 seats a game.
Yeah, no, they're not. It's not that they're not showing up. They're just like, damn, we suck right now. And he's going, we go through this stuff pretty frequently and we make the playoffs. It's a different conversation if it's, hey, why haven't you guys won when you're always in the playoffs? But a lot of teams have to answer that question. So how would you have answered it?
I just would have been more, just cut it off long. It's a long season. We're just in a rut. We got a lot of people banged up right now, but we're going to be fine. But then he would stop there. And then before somebody could even get the next question out, he's like, don't give up on us. Okay. No one's giving up on you. Nobody's saying you guys aren't going to make the playoffs. No one's saying you guys are terrible. It was just, he just jumped it. I felt like he had that pre-planned in his mind and was going to get that out there no matter what.
Okay, fine. Adam, quick comment, and then we'll bring boy Bassitt
it's the Yankees. Yeah, it's the Yankees. He said he didn't need to keep going. It's the Yankees. No one. We know what they can do. We know what they will go out and get. So, and the Yankees are always going to be right there. That again, they've won one championship in this decade. I mean, sorry, not this decade, this century. So that's obviously heavy on everybody. The Yankees are all about championships. So they get to the postseason, yeah, but the postseason is not good enough for them. The postseason is good enough for every other organization. It's not good enough for them. So, fans want that. Fans want the rings. They want the championships. And I always tell fans, stop tweeting pitch by pitch. I mean, at bat by at bat. You're going to go drive yourself crazy. I mean, you are, man. If you tweet literally all 54 outs, you're going to drive yourself nuts, man. So, but that's Yankee fans. They live and die with their team. So, either way, they ride a roller coaster of emotion. The players, they know where they're going to be. The organization knows where they're going to be. They're going to be in the thick of it when they need to be in it. And the most important date for them is always a trade deadline to see what they can add because they never subtract.
Yeah, well, those super fans pay the bills.
I'm tired of people saying that.
What? Well,
it's the TV that pays the bill.
Yeah, right? And the eyeballs
Social
watch
media.
the TVs. Yeah.
The cable was already on in your house when you buy it.
No, you need the ratings. You need the ratings, baby. Hey, let's bring on our guest. Let's bring in our guy, Blue Jays starter Chris Bassitt, joining us right now. Chris, how you doing today? And yeah, I see the hat. I like it.
Is it that cold in Boston?
It ain't warm, I'll tell you that. It's definitely cold.
What is it about up there right now? Temps?
I think it's like 45 and off and on rainy, so it's not great.
Shit.
Wait, is there a rain out in our future? Because maybe I'll change my lock of the day.
No,
I don't think. I think we'll definitely get it in, but it's going to be a cold, windy one.
Is there a worse clubhouse to sit in Boston when there's a rain delay? Because there's nowhere to go.
No, absolutely not. And then you bring all the media and all that in here, and it's a runaway.
At least they did. They added that little players' lounge in the back now, and they have a weight room, so it's a little better. Yeah. Back in the day, like 20 years ago, You had nowhere to go. You sat in your locker, and there's poles, and there's like one little love seat to watch a TV on. And you're sitting there, and there's media, and you're just like, where do I can't go anywhere?
Worse than the Cubs
Imagine going
visiting?
there September call-ups, though.
Oh, yeah.
We always had to go there in September.
Oh, my gosh. Worse than
Jack that
Chicago,
was
though?
40.
Yes.
Cubs visiting?
It's smaller.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Cubs is renovated now, so it's actually not too bad. Yeah, it's a lot bigger. Old school Cubs was crazy, but the new one is not bad at all.
Okay, so tell me, first off, just big picture, how you like in Toronto, and also that outfield defense.
Yeah, awesome. Toronto as a city is obviously unbelievable. Everyone knows that. But the team is just young, really, really good, obviously. Hungry to win. And then, playing for like this team with basically 3 center fielders running around, it makes pitching pretty easy.
I would say so. You got the outfield defense, and then you got the sluggers, right? You got Vlad, you got Bo Bichette, you got Springer. They score for you guys every night too. I picked Vlad as my MVP. Tell me why I'm right.
He can do everything. I mean, literally everything. I mean, a lot of people will, yes, definitely lump him into like the so-called like they're sluggers kind of thing, but they're batting 300 and they're in contention to win a Gold Glove. So, I mean, there's not a single thing that Vladdy can't do. So he should be an MVP candidate every single year.
Team in your division, the Rays, are playing really well, and I was like, Chris would be perfect to ask this to. Did you see Wander Franco's little spin and throw over to first? If it's your teammate, what are your thoughts? If you're on the other side, do you care, or do you think it's fun as long as you get the play done?
Yeah, it's like that catch-22 of like you want people to be really comfortable, like just be themselves. I think if people are just themselves and not trying to like not be someone they're not, I think that's what you get like the best person out of. But at the same time, if he drops it or something, you're definitely mad. I think it's one of those things where he did it one time. It was really, really cool. I saw it and I was like, dang, that's sick. But it's like, hey, don't do that again. Like if you pulled that off, but let's not do that again.
Bass, how you doing, baby? I want a 2-part question. One, how have you been treating my guy Danny Jansen? If you don't know the story, he was my host family's son at 9 years old, annoying the hell out of me. How's that relationship? Obviously, you guys are a battery mate. And the East, how good is the East on a daily basis? Just how good is playing the AL East?
Yeah, Jano's unbelievable. One of my favorite guys on the team. His humor is right where mine's at. So me and him bond really, really well. And then for the East, I compare the AL East to the NL East very much like last year. I mean, the Rays are obviously doing what the Rays are doing. You have Baltimore that's doing really well. You obviously have the Yankees. You have us. But you just kind of know that this division is going to probably come down to 1 or 2 games at the very end of the year. So knowing that, it really makes every single game, I mean, as dumb as it is, like today, you can't really overlook a single game because you know at the very end of the year it's going to be really, really tough to win this division. And the Rays are playing unbelievable baseball.
Chris, you used to be known before the pitch clock as a guy that called his own game, shake off a ton. How happy are you now that you can have the pitch comm right here on your glove, or you put it on your glove, right?
I did, but then I started to realize, like, not to give away secrets, but I started to realize, like, if you put on your glove and you rotate your glove to like get to a certain pitch, I felt like that could be a tip a little bit. And then we went and faced the Royals, and I saw Greinke put it on his belt and just basically just cover it up. And I was like, all right, that's the way to go. So I think the belt is the way to go. I put it on the belt.
And has it helped you? Because now you can tell a catcher, hey, or I was going to say you do like this, or do like Shohei does and put it under his armpit.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but you just go like this. Has it sped it up for you? Has it sped up the process? Because as a former catcher, I'd say, gosh, what does this guy want to throw? Now you can just say, okay, slider, fastball, whatever, real quick.
Yeah, I think I like catchers being empowered. I really do. I like catchers calling their game, seeing what they're thinking. It kind of takes less thinking for me. But then obviously once the clock got involved, it was just it's not really possible for me to go through 7 pitches and then get it like a ball one or a walk or whatever it may be. So, yeah, I basically had to go to it. But do I like it? No, I don't like it. I like catchers calling the game.
Chris, I want to ask about your buddy Max Scherzer. What were your thoughts on that situation? I know, when you were with the Mets with him, you guys were tight and you learned a lot from him. So when you watched the suspension, now he came back yesterday and he's obviously pissed. He doesn't agree with the decision. I know you've talked about MLB and we've got all players on this show every day and their disaster of how they've handled a baseball and sticky stuff. And then Max comes back yesterday and he's like, yeah, obviously I'm rusty. I haven't pitched in 2 weeks and the season just started.
Yeah, really tough. Just because I know Max's routine. I know Max's what he does every single day, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that he was not cheating at all. And to me, the craziest part is like why would he cheat all of a sudden right now? It doesn't even make sense. We all know guys that still do some stuff that is probably crossing the line, but Max is sure as heck not one of them. So to call out a Hall of Famer, like I said, in a division where the division is probably going to come down to 1 or 2 games, it was not a good look. It's not good for the game. It's not good for anyone involved.
Did you talk to him?
Yeah, I've talked to him. I mean, I won't say what we talked about, but I've definitely talked to him. I still talk to him a lot.
How do we stop it? How do we stop pitchers like Max or yourself? Let's say, and we've called out Phil Cuzzy left and right because he's the only one that's got a guy yet. Your next start, you have Phil Cuzzy out there. You use rosin and sweat, and you go him and you hand him the ball, you hand him your hand, and he goes, too sticky. You're out. How do we stop it?
I don't know anymore. I really don't know anymore. Like I said, I know what Max uses. I know what when I say I know what Max uses, I know what he doesn't use. He doesn't use anything illegal. So for him to kind of get popped for not using anything illegal, I don't know who's safe. I don't use anything, so I'm not too concerned about it. I don't even touch the rosin bag.
You use nothing. You use nothing.
I don't use a single thing because I feel like it takes away from my sinker. I like the ball kind of like to roll off my fingers for my sinker. Sure, it'd probably help like all the other pitches, but for the most part, I want to live and die by my sinker. So it's tough for me to kind of hurt my best pitch to improve all the other ones, kind of thing, for having, say, a little tack with the rosin. But no, I don't like the way this whole thing was basically done.
Hey, Chris, I want to transition to the Maple Leafs. So are you a Leafs fan?
No, so it's very unfair to call me a Leafs fan. Like, am I rooting for them? 100%. Do I like them? Yes. But like when I was with the White Sox and then obviously Oakland, I had a couple connections for like tickets for like the Coyotes games, stuff like that. So like I would have like Sidney Crosby coming to town or like Ovechkin or whoever it may be. So I was going to games just to kind of see like players. So I really enjoy the game of hockey, but at the same time, I became more of a fan of players rather than just. And it's not even like I was like rooting for a specific guy. I just like you go and see like Sidney or you go and see like Ovechkin or whoever it may be. And you're like, dang, like you're seeing like the world's best players. And that was the coolest part to me. So I didn't really have a favorite team, so to speak. So I was like, all right, I'll jump on the bandwagon of the Leafs.
Well, no, because so you were a Blackhawks fan. We went with the White Sox, and then you were.
But he's a fan of players. I
know, but it seems like now he's a. I get it. He's a Leafs fan. They won their first. Yeah. They won their first series in what, like 25 years?
Yeah, they're freaking out up there, aren't they?
Yeah, of course they are.
Yeah, for sure.
So have you met the Leafs players? Do the Leafs players come take
no, but
how come you haven't grown out your beard?
Yeah, like Jordan Romano, he's a massive Leafs fan, so he knows like the genuinely true history of like we've struggled for this long, we haven't won a series for like in this long, so like he's given me like a history lesson of like, this is why we need to root for them. This is why it's so important. This is why everyone's losing their mind. So yeah, to see the city like this excited, it's really cool. I like it.
Hey, Chris, wanted to ask you about the owners, and you're not too fond of them. And now one of the great franchises is leaving Oakland. They're the fans have been, yeah. There's your tweet. The fans have been shat on in a way. The basketball team went on the other side of the water. Football team went to Vegas. Baseball team is threatening to leave with purchase of land in Vegas. Explain that, man. As a person, you spent a lot of your time in your career there, a proud franchise. Every time they get anybody that they got to pay, they ship out, and it's as a baseball fan, it sucks because you want everybody to compete. They don't look like they're competing, and it's not. And no disrespect to the guys that strap it on for them every day, because those guys have an opportunity to go and play, and they grinding. But as an overall organizational philosophy, they're not trying to win.
Yeah, it's really tough. I mean, you go back and look at the old Oakland team that we are part of, and I mean, I still talk to so many guys. I mean, we're still in a massive group chat and stuff like that, and we still talk pretty frequently. And it was more so like, man, if we could just add a piece or two to this roster with Simeon and Olsen and Chapman and all those guys, and I'm like, if we just add one or two pieces with Bomel, we got a chance to do something special here. And instead of kind of adding a piece or two, we decided to blow it up. So that's always been a touchy subject, I think, with all of us. But it's just more so like, we know how much money is made in this game. We just know it. And with revenue sharing and all that, I just think it's ridiculous to have a team that's just not trying to win when you know how much money is being brought in. So that was the biggest thing, is like, you look at San Diego and you look at obviously like Toronto, the team that I'm on, the Mets. And I understand like San Diego and Mets and all that might be extreme examples of like spending money. I'm not saying you got to go spend up $400 million, but I mean, you got to put a product on the field where it's like, all right, like we're investing in players that are really, really good to try to win a World Series. So I just think if you're not in the game to try to win a World Series, then I don't think you should be an owner. I really don't.
And that tweet also that we showed actually came before all the Oakland stuff from this year. So when you put that out there, were you more referring to, for example, a team like, obviously yours is spending in a winning window right now, but then also in San Diego? I mean, we give a ton of credit, because owners are faces of the sport as well, to a Padres owner that's like, screw this, we're the only team in town. We're going to get players. We're going to have fun. And we're going to try and have winning baseball here because we're all freaking rich. Right.
That's 100% it. I mean, it's just like you have San Diego, or I mean, I'm not going to mention teams, but like all the best teams. You see the excitement and like the ripple effect of like, all right, we spend this much money, and all the businesses get like obviously a big boost from it. You have the fan bases that are excited. So it's like, I just don't understand going the cheap route and losing 100 games. It just doesn't make sense to me in this grand scheme of thing of just basically all these owners. The owning of a baseball team is not even like their main source of like money. They're billionaires for a whole nother reason. So to penny pinch and just sit there and just collect revenue sharing is just crazy to me.
Chris, speaking of not pitching pennies, the Yankees, who are in your division, and we talked about Vlad a little bit earlier and what he can do. You obviously saw where he said he would never play for the Yankees no matter what. It's a personal thing. Would you ever do that?
Say I wouldn't play for somebody?
Yeah. Like, why would you cut off your market? Why would you say? And I argue that it actually could help him out make more, because then if the Yankees do want him, he's already made the precedent. I got to pay him more now to get him to come.
Yeah, I don't think Vladdy is going to have any trouble finding a team that wants him. I'll tell you that. So he can say he doesn't want to play for a lot of teams, and he'll be just fine. But I mean, would I ever say that? No, just because yeah, I might be like a little bit like out there and a little bit like vocal on certain things, but I don't ever want fan bases to like hate me more than they need to. I like to try to kind of stay quiet, um, try to like respect all the guys on the field, just because, in my opinion, one of the biggest things is like, all right, like I go in there, say in the middle of May or the middle of June, I don't want the team to so-called get up for me just because I'm talking crap about them. I want them to sleepwalk through a game and then I escape 7 innings shut out and be like, what the heck just happened? So,
Oakland,
um,
Oakland.
yeah, Oakland's beautiful. Everyone doesn't want to be there, and we'll whoop the heck out of you when you don't want to be there, and then you'll say I hate Oakland and lose every game there. So yeah, I love that.
Hey, I've got a baseball-y question here. Our fans are watching every second, probably catching certain things more than we are, trying to look around the league. So Toasty said, Chris, I noticed you really move a lot on the rubber this year. Is that specific for each pitch or a feeling type thing? Is that something, are you moving around to the pitching rubber more so this year? I didn't catch that.
No, so I made an adjustment of moving from the first base side, and the only reason I was on the first base side for basically my whole career was just it gave me a whole lot more plate to work with my sinker. I could just throw sinkers away and just let it kind of run the whole entire plate, and if it ended up inside to a righty, it did. But the more and more I've gotten comfortable with so-called like hitting spots. With my sinker, the more and more that I started to move more towards the middle of the plate, because it kind of opened up the lanes of throwing sliders, throwing some changeups, throwing some curveballs. So I've moved more to the middle of the rubber, but we'll see. We're just tinkering with some stuff, but I like it.
Who taught you to move on the rubber? Because it's a big thing. We've talked about this. I help coach at a high school, and I tell pitchers all the time, if you keep missing in a certain spot, you can move on the rubber. You don't always have to stand in the middle. You don't always have to stand on one side or the other. If you're on, let's say, the first base side and you're missing into a righty, okay, the third base side, move over to the first base side. Like you said, open up lanes. Who taught you this? Was it in high school? Was it in college? Was it when you're in the minor leagues? Where did you learn this? Because I think that's one of the most least talked about things in the world is pitchers can move on the rubber. The rubber is wider than the plate. You can move wherever you want as long as you just have a little fraction of your toe touching it.
Right. Yeah. To me, it all stems back from watching Scherzer. I always had a slider, but it was not very good. When it coming from a pitching standpoint to a hitter, obviously the word like tunneling is big now, but like for me, like I would throw, if I was on the first base side, I would throw a sinker and it would start outside and run in. Well, for my slider, I would have to throw it inside and then hopefully it broke to the outside corner. So instead of like tunneling it where hopefully I can do this, if it's a fastball like here and then like it runs like this, I'm having to throw a slider like this and come back to like basically the middle of the plate. So like I felt like hitters were able to identify my slider when I was on the first base side a lot easier when it was in the zone, because it was not sharp at all. It was more like a loopy slider trying to get it in the zone. But when I was on the middle of the plate, I'm able to kind of drive a slider a lot more directionally towards home plate and just kind of let it break off towards the outside part of the plate. But long story short, yeah, it was from me watching Max. Like Max throwing four seams away and then throwing sliders down and away and just tunneling that pitch. I'm like, man, I can do that, I think. Not to the degree that he can do it, but I can do that a lot better if I'm more towards the middle of the mound. So I've done that. My slider has become a lot better, but now it's just figuring out all like the lanes of like where I need to throw pitches.
So aside from that, what was the number one thing that you picked up from Max or enjoyed from spending time with him? Because I remember catching you in spring training. You're like, I'm going to be this guy's best friend, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah. I mean, it was a blessing last year. Not so much, obviously, just knowing those guys, but like Carlos Carrasco, I was a huge fan of him before I even got to the team, just because I was a huge Indians fan. growing up, and like watching him do what he did. And then obviously DeGrom and Scherzer and Ty. Ty has been unbelievable. So yeah, just that whole entire staff. It was cool just to pick up little things from each one of them. But for the most part, for Max, it was just more so just preparation. I don't think there's anyone in the big leagues more prepared for a game than him. What he does, the data that he can like retain and go into a start knowing the stats that people have is second to none.
I want to go back to your college days and in the preparation kind of thing. You went to Akron. Okay. First, what the heck is a zip? Because I don't know. Is it like a kangaroo or something? I don't know.
I'd be shocked if you ever heard of them. But you ever heard of zipper boots?
No. Have
Yeah.
you?
No.
Yeah. It was some zipper boot company, and they shortened it for Zips.
Okay. All right.
And then they had a student like voting thing for what mascot do you want, and they said, all right, we want a kangaroo in the middle of Ohio.
Okay, makes total sense. The booted kangaroo is a zip. Okay.
Yeah, it was just
awesome. That's the best explanation I've heard. So thank you. It makes no sense. You were redshirted in college. You redshirted your first year.
Yeah.
Again, I help coach high school kids. Kids have a problem when they say, "Oh man, I'm going to be redshirted." It is looked down upon. How did that year of being redshirted in college help you from high school to college? And would you tell kids it's okay to redshirt? It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You get better. You get stronger. You get used to college. I think it's not the worst thing in the world personally. But again, kids have egos. They want to say, "Oh, I'm going to a Power 5 school. I'm playing my freshman year," and they might not get on the field for 2 years. Instead, you can go to a smaller school like Akron, redshirt a year, and get on the field and play.
Yeah. I think people are just enamored with the final goal. Like they want the very final product without going through all the crap before it. And for me, my story going into college, physically, I just wasn't physically ready for facing grown men. I was probably 6'4", 170 pounds. Right now I'm 6'5", 230. So like I was 60 pounds lighter than I am now. So yeah, it was just, I wasn't ready. Physically, it wasn't ready. It just wasn't mature physically wise enough to play at that level. And sitting a year out, was I mad? Sure, I was mad. But looking back at it, it was a blessing because I was able to grow. I was able to get comfortable with my teammates. I was able to get comfortable with the routine of working out and classes and all that junk. And then finally going to play, but you go and play and you're already comfortable. You're already friends with everybody else. So it made it easier. So I just think, like I said, I think too many people are just fixed on the final product rather than worrying about each step.
That's good stuff. And Chris, I just want to finish with a pitch type marketing question. So it's a two-parter. One, do you still have a unique name for your slow curveball? And two, are you okay with the heavy usage of the word sweeper now as a type of pitch? Because I am, and I think it's cool to market pitches, but my friend sitting next to me every day is like, it's a slider.
Yeah, it's a slider.
Yes, thank you, Chris. I knew I liked you. Go Zips.
Yeah, it's like I think it's cool for fans. I think it's cool for all this stuff. But at the end of the day, that pitch has been around a long, long time. And I just think the data, the more and more we dive into numbers and all that stuff, people say like, "Oh, well, you're throwing a slider different than you do, so it has to be a different pitch." Not really. No, it doesn't. Like I can add and subtract velo off my slider and make it break a little bit more, but it's still a slider. So
what about the slow curve? What was that called for you? Didn't you have a nickname for it?
No, I'm not sure what you're referring to, but my the pitching coach in Oakland, he called it bloopy.
That's what I'm referring to.
Everyone thought that was like the most ridiculous thing to call a pitch. So everyone started calling me that, and I said, "What the hell is going on here?" Like, so yeah, he messed me up on that one.
Bloopy. So Bloopy. That's a good
It
name.
sounds like a mascot name.
Yeah.
But it's a fun name for marketing. Hey, it's better than what Lance Lynn told us a few days ago because his sweeper wasn't working. He literally said the day before it started, he was like, we were like, what do you think about your sweeper that you're trying to mix in? He's like, fuck my sweeper. And he literally did not use it at all in his next start.
Yeah, dealt.
And he dealt.
It's ridiculous.
Well, Chris, appreciate it. Thank you for clearing that up. And now AJ has one on me, but other guys have called it sweeper.
I know.
Whatever. Really appreciate it, though. Great to have you on here, and good luck the rest of the way. And we'd love to have you back, man.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Chris Bassitt from the Toronto Blue Jays. Good stuff there. What?
No,
I know what you're. I know what you're looking
it.
at. Me.
I love it, Bloopy.
That's why I wanted to ask, though. Is if I remember,
they started calling him Bloopy.
Well, that's different because it was a fun nickname for a pitch.
Yeah,
a slow curve.
Until it becomes your nickname, and then you don't want to be called.
Well, that's like I was just gonna say if someone has an ephus, like Darvish used to chuck the ephus more often, but you didn't call him. Did you call him Uncle Ephus?
No.
All right, let's slap hands, please. You're up first. I didn't see this, so you sent some picture. Oakland. Is this ringing a bell?
Oakland.
Did you not send it?
No. What did I send? I don't know. Let me see. Surprise me.
Maybe it was from me.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you didn't send that?
Oh no, I did.
Oh,
Damn.
so
What?
I'm trying to set you
Look
up.
at that number. 2,583 at your game last night.
Oh, I watched almost every
that
second.
Was 2
of
nights
it.
ago. Sorry.
2 nights ago.
2,500.
Last night I think was less. I mean,
less than 2,500.
Cyrus was there, and I think he said it felt like maybe 1,000. There was an hour plus rain delay
also
yesterday that knocked out a lot of people. He said there's
a lot of people. You went from 2,500 to 1,000.
That's a lot of people. He said that there was one dude that probably had a few to drink and just kept yelling baseball, and everyone heard him in the whole ballpark. Everyone. We have a problem.
We have a serious problem. If 2,500 people are showing up to a major league game in a huge market, there is a problem that needs to be resolved by the commissioner of baseball to say to the owner. Now, the commissioner works for the owners. I get it. He's kind of their voice. But somebody needs to step in and say, look, man, we can't survive like this. This just is a bad look for the sport.
Well, that is what they wanted, and that's why they're moving. They upped ticket prices this year significantly.
Yeah, it's just a bad look.
I know.
2,500 people at a game. Adam, that was like back when Cal and the Orioles in the Metrodome, we used to play these early games, and I swear we played a game against the Orioles. I think I told the story on here. You could count the people. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't think we got over like 700. Because we sit in the bullpen and go 1, 2.
You counted to 700 in the bullpen?
Yeah. We had nothing else to do. I was sitting there, nothing doing anything.
It's just bad for everybody working there, too. It's not just, the players, obviously, you want to see somebody out there, but it's bad for the staff, for the people that work at the stadium. It's miserable and demoralizing for them also. So it's just all around ass. 2,500 people, that's more, 2,600.
2685 last night. So Tuesday was worse.
2685. Yeah.
That's announced too. That's not even
high school basketball games get more than that. High school football games get more than that in Texas on a Wednesday, and I know they don't play on Wednesday.
But if they did, they'd get more.
If they did, they'd get more.
No, you're right. But I would be the same way. I don't want to go if they don't want me there. They don't want me there.
What's the threshold of just saying play a game somewhere else?
That's what they're doing. They're moving. They're trying
I'm saying
to move.
this year.
Oh, you can't do that so quickly. And they have a contract with the ballpark.
Oh,
I think it runs through next year. I think technically, I want to say, but anyway.
But they purchased land in 2 other places.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. That's a very fun mess.
2,526.
TV ratings are off the charts. People are watching on TV.
Ooh.
I'm just guessing. Adam has a new favorite player in the bigs.
Coming up, who are some of your favorite players?
Ooh, Adam Jones, man. Adam Jones, I'm from Baltimore, so, him playing in the Orioles, seeing him play center field every day was amazing, and I always looked up to him. And I actually got to meet him in Mexico, so it was real cool.
That is sick. And if the sound, because it was loud there, if you couldn't hear it all, or if you're on the pod later, Lamont Wade Jr. being asked about who his favorite player is, and we're looking at him right now. And then you guys got to meet in Mexico. So was he starstruck?
No, I mean, I didn't know that. I seen the tweet today. I had no idea. But I was walking in the clubhouse and I seen him, and I was just like, "What's going on, man? How you doing?" I dapped him up. It was the second game, and I was like, "Damn, you just gonna jump bridge like that?" You know what I mean? Because he hit a bomb, and I had no idea of any of that. So that's very humbling whenever somebody can say you're their favorite player. So that's really cool. And hey, I'm gonna be rooting for you this year, brother. Not against the Padres, but I'm gonna be rooting for you.
You know damn well you paid that man some money in Mexico to say that.
Bought him some tacos.
Yeah, you bought him dinner or something. He said, they're going to ask you tomorrow on MLB.
No,
Bro.
I know. He was about to drink some water in a cup, and Adam went, no, smacked it out, gave him a water bottle, and said, "Here, kid, you'll thank me later. When your entire team has the shits, you'll thank me later." It's cool when anybody, right, says to you, "Hey, you're my favorite player." You meet a kid, a 10-year-old, but I mean, this is a major league ball player. That's good shit.
Hey, only thing I hate about that though is when somebody outdates himself. Spencer Torkelson said that he was a big Barry Bonds fan. Barry Bonds retired when he was 7 years old. That means that he watched Barry Bonds from 0 to 7. That's a damn lie. If you can remember that. His favorite player is somebody in that era.
Yes.
His 12 to I love Michael Jordan like everybody else. Kobe Bryant is my era of favorite players. Okay.
Yes.
People are like, oh, I was 3 years old when I watched, Mickey Mantle. What, last year, best player ever.
They must be catching YouTube clips or something. Hey, FT Live on Friday. I'll be there with Frazier Friday, and Kratzy. And lastly, who won the name drop game today? Ryan Howard dinner with Adam Jones or Jason Williams golfing with AJ Przinsky?
Oh, Ryan
You
Howard.
decide.
Oh, come on. White chocolate. Ryan Howard ain't got no nickname like White Chocolate.
See you Friday.
No, you don't. Just chocolate.